Councilmember Kwame Kenyatta. Councilmember Andre Spivey. Councilmember James Tate.
Here.
Councilmember Joanne Watson. Council President Pro Tem Brown.
Here.
Council President Charles Pugh.
Here.
You do not have a quorum, Mr. President.
Thank you very much, Madam Clerk. We are going to ask Minister Elmario Allen from the New Liberty Apostolic Faith Church on Finkel to come on up and give us our opening prayer, and then we'll have a few presentations by the City Council members. Good morning. Oh, you can stand.
Let every heart pray. Father God, we come to you right now, Lord, in the name of Jesus Christ. Lord, first of all, thank you for another day that you allow us to see. Lord, we thank you for your love and kindness. Lord, we thank you for your tender mercies. We thank you for your grace that you have imparted unto us, Lord. We thank you for just allowing us to wake up, Lord, and see another day. Lord, we ask, Lord, in your name, Jesus, Lord, that you will have your way, Lord, even, Lord, in this council meeting today, Lord. Lord, we ask that you give all the council members, Lord, the spirit of excellence, Lord, that they may work for the people, Lord, in the name of Jesus Christ. Most of all, Lord, we ask that your will be done. Our Father which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread. Forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from all evil. For thine is the kingdom and the power and the glory forever. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Our first presentation will be by Member Spivey. Did you want to go first?
Thank you, Mr. President and colleagues. I want to ask Mr. Lee Canady to come forward. And your family, bring your guests with you, Mr. Canady. Bring your guests with you. Some of the family members are here with him this morning. As Mr. Canady comes forward, June is set aside as Black Music Month across this country. And we do want to celebrate really an icon and a pioneer in our country, in our city, Mr. Lee Canady. And glad you brought your family with you this morning. Whereas it is indeed a privilege to pay tribute to Mr. Lee Canady in recognition and appreciation for his contributions to the music industry in the city of Detroit. For nearly 30 years, he has provided exemplary services to our citizens in the city of Detroit. Mr. Canady, born in El Dorado, Arkansas, came to Detroit in 1958, seeking a greater opportunity. In 1959, without any formal knowledge of the retail business, he landed a sales position in the retail business under Florence Keywell, then the owner of Monroe Music, located at 54 Monroe in downtown Detroit. In 9 years, he excelled to manager, earning a 50% share in the business. And when Ms. Keywell announced her retirement, Mr. Canady became proprietor of Monroe Music, adding Lee to the name. And with only $48 in capital, he filled his store with stacks of hit records from his own collection from his own home. On the first opening day, Mr. Canady and Lee Monroe's Music brought in $300 by the end of the day. Whereas Mr. Lee Canady became the first Black-owned record shop across the country to buy as a retail store from large distributors such as CBS, RCA, and Capitol Records. The success of Lee's Monroe Music attracted the attention of numerous famous Black entertainers like Nancy Wilson, Lou Rawls, Dizzy Gillespie, Cannonball Adderley, Barry Harris, Miles Davis, and many more that we cannot name today. Whereas Mr. Lee Canady is the father of 3 daughters, grandfather of 7, great-grandfather of 7, and great-great-grandfather of 1. Mr. Lee Canady can be spotted, as I saw him last week, listening to jazz music on his boombox while riding in his Cadillac scooter through Eastern Market, Campus Marshes, Hart Plaza, the Riverwalk, and all parts of Detroit. And in 2004, when I became the pastor of St. Paul, he was an employee there with the senior program between the city of Detroit and that church. And it's my resolve, the Detroit City Council hereby congratulates Mr. Lee Canady, pioneer, forerunner, and legend of the music industry, for his outstanding service and dedication and serving the people in the city of Detroit. And also, he was an employee here in the city of Detroit for some time, back in 2000, working in the city's law department. And so we thank you, Mr. Canady, for all you've done, not just for Detroit, but for music the world over. You are one of ours. And today we honor you in the month of June for Black Music Month. If we can put our hands together, congratulate Mr. Mr. Canady have some words and introduce his guests and bring us some greetings. Mr. Canady?
This is my daughter, Karen, and Chanel, my granddaughter, my cousin, Diane, and my son-in-law, Brian. And I want to thank you, Barbara. I didn't recognize this is one of my employees a long time ago. Yeah. So I want to thank you, Councilman Andres Fiery and the Rescue Council. Thank you very much.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. I would like for Ms. Yolanda Buckman to please come forward with the Detroit Parent Network. Is she here? Yolanda? There she is. All right. She's got a full house today. You can't hear me? We know we have a number of organizations that are working to help increase the participation of parents. We know that the youth is not only the future, but they are present. And we have to do everything we can to empower them and help transform their lives. And if we don't do that, then anything that we do at this table, anything we do outside of this room is only a Band-Aid and won't matter. But we do have organizations that are getting involved and have been doing so for a number of years. And I am very proud to be able to present on behalf of this Detroit City Council. We have a testimony of resolution that is signed by each and every member for the Detroit Parent Network. Now, I'm not going to read it all because they've done quite a bit in their short time in 2002 since their inception. But it says, whereas the Detroit Parent Network was founded as a nonprofit organization in 2002 by Detroiter Tanya Allen and a team of parents of school-age children. Their vision was to create a premier parent nonprofit organization that would provide parents with the tools and support necessary to increase the level of scholastic achievement in their child's lives. Their goal was simply to make Detroit a better place to raise children and educate children. 1 year following its inception in 2003, DPN launched Parents Anonymous, a support group which parents facing challenging circumstances with their children could meet and discuss issues as well as solutions in an accepting and non-judgmental environment. As parent and volunteer participation increased within DPN, the organization further evolved by sharpening its political awareness and involvement with issues affecting education in the city of Detroit. In 2004, DPN hosted forums regarding education-related local ballot issues, as well as the newly implemented at that time federal No Child Left Behind Act. In 2005, the organization began partnerships with 25 local school community organizations, also known as LSEOs, in Detroit as well as Highland Park, and saw DPN's membership surpass the 1,000 milestone. In 2008, DPN developed a program named Project Graduation, which was designed specifically to address the needs of at-risk youth. 161 parents and 200 students took advantage of the program in its inaugural year, and Project Graduation resulted in overall test scores and classroom attendance increasing for participating students. DPN most recently secured a partnership with the Detroit Public School System in 2010, which provided them the opportunity to administer DPS's parental involvement initiatives, including the management of 7 parent resource centers, which just had their one-year anniversary, June 2nd. DPN also launched a door-to-door campaign in an effort to provide assistance to households affected by DPS school closures. DPN was also highlighted nationally on MSNBC's Making the Grade and Education Nation. They finished this year with more than 2,200 members and serviced over how many students? 30,000 families, which is tremendous. Now therefore be resolved that on this, the 14th day of June in the year 2011, the entire Detroit City Council salutes the Detroit Parent Network and its Executive Director, Shalonda Buckman, for their tireless efforts to improving parental involvement and education through policy awareness, leadership development, and community engagements. Can you please all give congratulations? Thank you.
That was very nice of you. First, I want to say I'm a mother and a wife and a resident and a tax-paying citizen in this community, and I'm educating my children here, and I think that's the most important thing that I'm doing. Second to that is it's not just about our kids, it's about making sure every kid is in a winning position, and so I always feel like we can celebrate when we put all of our kids in a winning position. We're not there yet. I look forward to coming back and celebrating at that moment, but I do appreciate the recognition. We don't do this work for that reason, but it certainly is important work that we do, working with parents. We realize as an organization you have some parents, just like anything else at churches, they're going to come to you. They're going to always come to the school. They're going to be at the bake sale. They're going to do all the traditional things. But we decided if we're real serious about serving parents, we have to go to where they are. And so in 2005, we began to do that. Last year, we did hit a record number of knocking on 6,000 doors. This year, our goal is 8,000. So that's a specific piece I want to share with you guys, because as we go and knock on doors and talk with parents, not just about the support that is available through our organization, it doesn't cost them anything. Connecting people to something, so if they are feeling isolated, they know that there's something out here that they can connect to, whether it's a support group, a parenting class, a training, anything that they want to do. We have a platform for that. But also we know that there are a number of schools that are going to close, and so we have to be out there talking with parents about how to make sure that their kid stays connected, and that they, whatever they choose, whether it's a public charter school, if it's a traditional public school, that we're educating parents about what their options are, and we're also connecting them in fun ways. One of the things that we incorporated late last year that we're carrying on this year is we call it On the Block Thursdays. We'll take our parent mobile, and yes, it looks like an ice cream truck. We probably will give out some ice cream this year, but you got to bring your parent over to the truck in order to get the ice cream so that we can spend time doing program right there on the block. Again, if we're serious about serving parents, we have to go and take it to where they are. So that is our commitment, that is our cause, and again, I thank all of City Council for all of your support and this recognition on today. Thank you very much.
And for those who are watching, if they want to participate, what number can they call?
They can call me direct. My direct line is 313-309-1452. I know some of y'all can call about other things. I do return calls.
All right. Thank you. And I have one more Spirit of Detroit award that I would like to present, and a pen to a gentleman by the name of Charles Chaz Miller. I know you're in the house. I saw you earlier. There he is. Give it up. Now, this gentleman really epitomizes everything that we want in a Detroiter. He grew up in Southwest Detroit, and after high school, he left and did some tremendous things in other states. Hey, how you doing? Great. Good to see you. And he did a lot of great things. What are some of the cities? Philadelphia you were in, and
L.A.,
LA.
Columbus, Ohio,
and
St. Louis.
St. Louis. As you know, he's
Kentucky.
been around Kentucky.
Chicago.
But he's been all around this country and has done some great things. And he's an artist, not just any artist, but someone who cares about the community. And anyone who's going around the city of Detroit and have seen those butterflies in various areas of the city, especially in the Brightmoor area, this is the gentleman who started that movement. And one of the things that he says is that you have to change a community not just through brick and mortar, but also by utilizing the creative minds that people have and being able to assist our young people in growing their vision for themselves in the future. He has also helped a number of young people with scholarships and go on to pursue higher education. So really appreciate all the work that you've done and will continue to do, which I know. I came back in, was it 2007?
Yes.
In 2007, back to the city of Detroit.
No, I came, I'm sorry, in 97.
In 97, and is very committed and has done a lot of work. So just want to, on behalf of the Detroit City Council, and this is signed by each and every member, we appreciate the work that you do. Also want to provide you with a Spirit of Detroit coin. And he's also one of the innovators bringing technology and art together, colliding them. So I want to give you a couple of, give you an opportunity to say a few words about what you've been doing. Talk about the efforts that you've been doing inside of the community. And I'm also reminded, and we're going to have to give a hand clap for this. Today's this gentleman's birthday. And he didn't know it at the time, didn't know it, and he's bashful about it, but he was able to come down and visit on his birthday.
For me, again, it's about the law of attraction, and you bring to you what you think in your deepest part of your mind is while you're by yourself, so guard your thoughts. But it's important for me, as an artist, to change the environment. Nothing thrives in a toxic environment, and the first thing I could see when I moved back to Detroit that I needed to work on the environment. And if you want to have a true renaissance, if you want to change the hearts and minds of men, you have to deal with their environment. You have to deal with, like you say, with people where they are. So that's what I knew murals could do. Murals have changed and brought economic development to many cities. You can look at Philadelphia and see what it's done in Philadelphia. Their mural program generates over 5,000 jobs a year, has a budget over $5 million, and has restored their Parks and Recreation Center system. And we can do the same thing in Detroit. The spirit of Detroit for me is about productivity. When I looked at my father working in the auto industry for all those years and how hard he worked, working midnight so I could have a good education, I understood as an artist I was going to have a struggle in Detroit because everybody said you need to go get one of them good factory jobs. But listen, people, everything we use in our world has been created by an artist. The paper, the hats, the tablecloths. So I've been teaching our young people that. Once even some of the adults understand that, you understand that you can have a career as that. So we have a lot of young talent in our city. My program is called Public Art Works. It's a mural beautification and art education program. And I think it's a way, I know it's a way, we can change the city. You can come to Old Redford and see what we've done in our community, and it can be a shining example for the rest of the city. Thank you for your time.
And any of you have never heard of Artist Village, and those of you who have heard of Artist Village, which is over in the Old Redford community, this is one of the gentlemen who helped start that. And when is Artist Village open again for everyone?
Well, Artist Village is, normally we do a Saturday jazz and poetry night, but the main thing is art education. Our summer programs will be starting June the 20th, and I've been doing summer programs there ever since I started because that was my mission. It was about the children. But fortunately enough, we had a great Saturday night with some of the best poets and comedians. It's just an open mic stage. As a matter of fact, all of you can come and get on stage. Just sign the list. So, you know, there's a spirit of entertainment in all of us as Detroiters. And I know I've seen probably most of y'all at karaoke night one time before, so I know it's in you. Thank you very much for your time. I know we got a lot of serious business to take care of, and I'm praying for y'all, really, because I know, you know, I'm praying for us. Okay, thank you.
What's the address to Artist Village if people want to visit?
17340 Lasher.
17340 Lasher.
Website is publicartworks.org.
Or Lasser. What is the? It's Losser.
Losser, yes, sir.
And what's your website?
Public Art Works.
Publicartworks with a Z. .org. Okay, cool. Thank you. Madam Clerk, it's nice to see you.
Thank you. Nice to see you too.
We are cutting off the collection of public comment cards. Where's Kaylin? Kaylin, do you have them? Okay. Thank you. All right. We're going to approve the journal of the last session. This is for you. And we have no reconsiderations or any unfinished business. So now we have the President's report on standing committee referrals and other matters for budget, finance, and audit.
3 reports from various city departments.
All right, those 3 reports will be referred. For internal ops,
11 reports from various city departments.
those 11 reports will be referred. For neighborhoods,
1 report from the recreation department.
the report will be referred. For planning and economic development,
7 reports from various city departments.
the 7 reports will be referred. For public health and safety,
12 reports from various city departments.
those 12 reports will be referred. We now call for voting action matters under other matters,
There are no items, Mr. President.
under communications from the mayor and other governmental officials or agencies.
There are no items, Mr. President.
Thank you, Madam Clerk, and we will excuse our 3 wise men, and we'll now call for public comment. The people who are here to speak will have 1 minute. You are to come to the seats at the table at the end where the microphones are. The timekeeper will be to your left, and she will give you a 1-minute sign and a 30-second sign, and then your time will be up. Keith Hines, Deacon Bruce, and Deborah Miller. Keith Hines, Deacon Bruce, and Deborah Miller. Are you Mr. Hines? Okay. Is Mr. Hines here? Where were you when I was calling your name? I was standing up. Oh, okay. All right. You have 1 minute. All right, Deacon, we'll let you go first. You have 1 minute.
First, I'd like to say hello to everybody, and I want
Hello.
to thank you for giving me this opportunity to speak in behalf of Simon Pizza. Simon Pizza is the last black vendor at Cobo Hall, and I think it's atrocious of the fact that they're being pressured out of the building. I would hope that the city council would try and do something to help them stay, because we need all of our small black businesses in this city. One of the problems that we have in this city is that we are spending all of our money outside of the city, and because we're spending money outside of the city and with people that don't live in the city, we don't have the funds to do the things that need to be done to keep this city afloat. Let us begin to focus in on the city and the citizens of the city, that we might be able to do the things that's necessary to be done to improve our city.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Deacon.
Mr.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Mr. President. In the interest of full clarity, it is important to note that some of us have been fighting for Simon's Pizza as long as they've been in Cobo.
Yes, ma'am.
Still fighting for Simon's Pizza. There's an authority at Cobo now. Thank God for the city council, which sued over the Cobo Authority, which means we still own the property, but the authority has full charge of all the operations, including the vendors. It was the city council that fought to give them the 1-year contract they had that was extended last year. They were being put out last year, and the year before that, and the year before. There was city council who has stepped up and fought for them with every vendor and still fighting for them.
Yes, ma'am.
There was only one person on the on that authority board representing the city. It's a mayoral appointee named Wayman Guilbeault. City council has no representation on that authority at Cobo, only the mayor's office. Just for full disclosure, Mr. President.
Mr.
And we're
President?
still fighting for Simon's Pizza.
That's right. And also, we should point out, too, that, Simon's Pizza, does not have to take this as a loss or shut down their business. In fact, they could move down the street and get more business. So, I think that, we have to be positive about what is a bad situation and still turn it into a way for Simon's Pizza to stay afloat and perhaps even be more successful now. Yes, Mr. Smith.
Mr. President, just to underscore Councilmember Watson's point, the authority is a public body also, and
Yeah.
is also subject to the Open Meetings Act.
And people can go.
And anyone who would care to can also make public comment at its meeting. I'm not sure that meeting date, but I would like to bring that to the body's attention. Thank you.
Yeah, because the authority does have public and open meetings, and so if folk want to go and call the authority and find out when the meetings are, then you're welcome to go there as well. Ms. Miller.
My name is Ifrah Shakur, and Mrs. Miller has offered me her spot in
Yes,
order to
ma'am.
speak to our honorable council.
Yes, ma'am.
Brother Kwame, Mama Joanne, God bless you all for being down here fighting for us. We really appreciate it. And I'm here to voice some of the concerns that are not new to anybody, I'm sure. I don't think that I have anything profound to say, but we are asking you to give your support to the Simon's Pizza, mainly because we feel that they should exist wherever they choose to exist. No one likes to be told where you can do business or where you can live or anything along that line. So, and we're also asking that we talk with the mayor about the budget cuts that he's planning on doing to our police, fire, and EMS departments. The last thing Detroit needs is a cut in those budgets. So let's try to find a way to manage our city so that we can be feeling more comfortable at home, and so that our city will become more inviting to others to come and live here.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Is Marie Butler here?
Yes, I am.
Okay, and Liz Blondie. Okay, Mr. Hines, you have 1 minute.
Yes, a few words real quick. Really not a lot of time. These words: time, nuisance per se, cartel, Sherman, what you call it, act. Anyway, other people, by the people, for the people. Then and now, we've lost definition of what this means. Hello world, my name is Keytime Damage Productions. They've gone too far now. They just had to go mess with my family. Cobo battle goes beyond your imagination, as we have to fight them with our education and history books. Mayor Cobo was a Republican during one of the worst times in African Americans' history, the city, and anybody below a particular income level. Mayor Cobo was a Republican, took office in 1948. He was part of the dislocation without relocation, violating the Federal Housing Act. He was also quoted as saying in a rally, "We don't want them here." The project we're talking about was Lafayette Park I-75 Freeway. Totalitarianism lives. Okay, the big green boy, the BGB, can be considered what you want to consider if you go by definition. BGB, green for money. Mayor Cobo came from 19 Union Shop. His support came from Ohio, California, and that's it.
Okay, thank you very much.
But that nuisance per se could even knock down Matty Maroon.
Okay.
Nuisance per se.
Thank you. Is Pat Deegan here? All right, coming up, Pat. Ms. Butler, you have 1 minute.
Hello, Council.
Hi.
My name is Marie Butler, and I'm here for Simon Pizza because, I'm not very educated, but my family came to Detroit from Mississippi.
Go ahead.
And they couldn't read or write. And they were able to work, my father, I believe, worked in the foundry here, one of the foundries. And on the side, he bought him a home, he bought him a car.
Go ahead.
And he also owned his own restaurant.
All right.
When I was coming up in the 50s. And he owned a small store, we used to call a candy store, because it had little small cans of stuff you could get as long as candy for children. And that mean it didn't have no liquor, no cigarettes, or nothing like that in there. I hate to say, I employ big business coming. We need them, because we need our roads fixed, we need different things done in the hospitals and all that. But please don't tell me that at 65 years old, another black American who's lived in this city, has paid taxes, has done everything they could to keep their business for 30 years in a viable area, has to go. That is deplorable. That shakes me to the core, because now I want to remind you that when these new people come in, these 2,000, 3,000, 5,000 people coming from these corporations, that is going to change the landscape of the voting base. And you need to remember that.
Yes, ma'am.
You understand?
Yes, ma'am.
And I love you all.
We love you
I'm
too.
glad for the work you're doing, and I'm proud of the innovations you want, and I hope you do the best for your people. And I mean all of Detroit.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
That's why we sued to stop the authority.
We
We told you this was coming, that's why we sued to stop the authority. That's why we sued. I wish we had this many people back then in the gallery when we sued.
Mr. Hines, thank you very much.
Okay, could I do about 30 seconds,
No, sir.
please?
Thank you.
Okay, it's
All
about
right.
some of the legal laws they have
All right,
violated.
thank you very much. Is Richard Fields here? All right, you can take that empty seat. Liz Blondie, you have 1 minute.
Thank you, Honorable Council. My name is Liz Blondie. I'm a City of Detroit resident, and in 2005, I opened Canady to 5 on Cass Avenue. It was the best decision I've ever made. We started as a dog daycare and expanded to offer dog boarding, grooming, and training. I have purchased my business and the property to the north from the city and have invested over $300,000 in my property over the past 6 years. K9 to 5 has grown each year since we've been in business, and we now have 12 full-time and 3 part-time employees who service over 300 dogs per week. Our services are utilized by both city residents as well as commuters who drive to work in downtown Detroit each day. I've paid over $8,500 in income tax revenue and over $6,000 in property tax revenue since we opened. My addition will create 5 new jobs and pay a substantial amount of property tax revenue to the city. In addition to growing my small business, I have been an active participant in my community. With a partner, I started Open City, a small business forum that has helped other small businesses open in the city. I have donated time, money, and services to the Detroit Riverfront Conservancy, the Clark Park Coalition, the Detroit Rescue Mission Ministries, the Mercy Education Project, and several others. K9 to 5 is now at capacity, and I cannot continue to grow my business unless I expand. The only viable solution is for me to purchase the 2 adjacent lots to the south of my building, on which to build my 4,000 square foot addition, in which I plan to invest over $400,000 with the help of an SBA loan. I believe you've seen a copy of my site plan. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much.
Mr. President, like I support Simon's Pizza, I support Liz Blondie and the K9 to 5. It's a great operation.
Thank you very much,
Thank
Councilman
you.
Watson.
That's right. Is Tony Pollard here? All right, come on up. You can take Ms. Blondie's seat. Is Mr. Deegan, you have 1 minute.
Thank you. I'm here to speak on behalf of Liz Blondie and her business. I'm a longtime Detroit resident, small business owner, and longtime fiance of Miss Blondie. So a little bit biased.
Yeah, you need to close the deal, Mr. Deegan. You need to close the deal. Long-time fiance, you should close that deal, man.
Regardless, I'm here to just show support that Liz Blondie has been extremely active in the community, and we are in very big support of community gardens, which there's been some contention by our neighbors that have been using that property. And are in full support and would help in any way we can to create a relocation there, but want to make sure that, it's understood that we're bringing in tax revenue and jobs in a city that's really starving for those things right now, and with 64,000 empty parcels of land, I think we can accommodate a community garden in a close adjacent property. Thank you for your time.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Steger. Mr. Fields, you have 1 minute.
Yes, my name is Richard Fields, and I too am asking the council to, stay in touch with, and write letters if necessary, just stay in touch with the Center Plate and the Cobo Regional Authority on behalf of Simon Pizza, the business that was put out, and to restore the monies to the Detroit Police Department, the Fire Department, and the EMS departments. Now, this is a reminder for the council. Proverbs 11:14 says, "Where there is no counsel, the people fall, but in the multitude of counselors, there is safety." And that is for you. You all watch over the people, and you're always supposed to be involved with setting things right. Thank you.
Thank you. And Mr. Fields, just so you know, I mean, I don't know that people know this publicly, but, myself and Councilwoman Watson met with Center Plate when they got here. They were trying to kick Simon's Pizza out a year ago.
We kicked their behind.
So.
Last year.
So we met with them in my office and explained that this is, first of all, you are new to this community, and you cannot come here and start kicking people out because of a violation of a contract. And so we fought really hard to get them to stay.
Real hard.
And so we feel that they stayed as long as they have because of the things that we were doing behind closed doors to fight for them. And so my comments earlier is because, I am not somebody who goes down easily. And I believe that even after something bad happens, you still can win. And so that was my point, that although they may not be located in Cobo because of some contract that we don't oversee, we can't approve it, we can't disapprove it, we can do what we can through influence. But if that contract is ended, that should not be the end of Simon's Pizza, is my point. And so we will help them as much as we can in terms of getting them connected with loan funds and other opportunities to open in a location that may be right near Cobo, and they may be more successful because foot traffic that's not going into Cobo can't see Simon's Pizza. And so this is not the end of Simon's if we work with them to make sure that they are still successful. And so that's what myself, and I'm sure every member of this body, plans to do. So I just wanted to say that for the record. Okay.
Thank you. I wish
Yes,
you
sir.
well.
All right. Thank you. Is Sylvia Petway here? Oh, and Member Watson, you want to say something?
Thank you, Mr. I thank President Pugh because he made the CEO of Center Plate, who's in Connecticut, fly in here to meet with us. I think it was 7:30 in the morning. And it's not something that the authority says they have to do. They don't have to meet with council's not in it anymore, only the executive branch. So we talk tough talk. They were putting Simons out last year.
That's right.
And the year before that, what was that last vendor? Airmark was putting them out 2 years ago, council saved them. And 3 years before that, council, I almost stood up on the table here. So, we're not through fighting for Simon. The reason they've been here this long is because of city council.
That's right.
So
That's
God
right.
bless you all for being here.
All
Thank you,
right.
Mr. President.
Thank you. Is Sylvia Petway here? Oh, yes, ma'am. All right. Tony Pollard?
Yes, Council.
All right, and we have, hold on, we have Marcus Anderson. Is Marcus Anderson here? Yep, you can take that empty seat, sir. Okay, Mr. Pollard, you have 1 minute.
Yes, Council. On the issue of the Detroit Department of Transportation, has Transportation Management come to y'all with a alternative of either increasing the fare box or proposing a ballot for either next year or this year's to raise the tax rate to cover city operations? And also when it comes to the proposed light rail, in your budget, is the light rail also on the chopping block to be cut if your budget goes through? And also, when it also comes to the light rail, why don't the city of Detroit have the option to take it off the track if it is not profitable for the city?
We have not gotten any alternative proposals in terms of raising fare The fare for the People Mover has been 50 cents since its inception, which is irresponsible if you're trying to generate revenue. And for the 11-12 budget, I'm not sure that there's anything in the budget that deals with the Woodward Light Rail. I don't think that there is. And we are still in negotiations.
A separate issue when it comes to the light rail, again, does the city of Detroit have the option to take it off of the tracks if it is not profitable for the city?
That's a good question. That is,
And I truly believe that
this is a new project, and these are ongoing discussions. But I will say this, and I think I would encourage you to attend all the public meetings and public hearings about the construction of Woodward Light Rail.
Yes,
and
I
you
have.
also to write your questions to. In fact, somebody from the mayor's office is here, and they are handling the project, the construction, the collection of funding for it. So I would urge you, before you leave, to talk to someone from the mayor's office who's here today.
Yes, sir.
Okay?
Just one more comment.
Right.
I did
10
talk
seconds.
I did talk to the people from the light rail program,
Yes.
and they did say that the city of Detroit does not have the option to take it off, and I consider that to be an outrage.
Yeah. Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Member Watson,
Mr.
you want
President,
to respond?
I've been an advocate of rapid transit for many years, and I'm well aware that the city of Detroit is the only major city in this nation that does not have rapid transit.
Right.
I take for granted New York, Chicago, D.C., Atlanta, anywhere else that is populated well, there's rapid transit, which there needs to be. The Metropolitan Affairs Coalition did a study when Bob Lynn chaired 4 years ago that showed for every dollar you spend on light rail, $8 follows it in economic growth.
Right.
It would be financially irresponsible for this city not to have rapid transit in place. We need more than that one line down Woodward. We need rapid transit all over the city of Detroit because where rapid transit is, jobs follow, economic growth occurs. We need rapid transit in the city of Detroit. It's not going to be off the plan. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Member Watson. Yeah, Pro Tem.
And I certainly concur with everything that was said. The President and I both sit on the SEMCOG board, and for every dollar that's invested, it will create $8 of economic impact, and everybody should understand that there's no fare box in the country, no fare box in the country that will pay for a transportation
That's
system.
right.
Right.
We need a
That's right.
regional funding source
Dedicated
in
Right.
order to pay for regional transportation
That's right.
in this city. And until we get that, we're
Right.
going to be bleeding between $55 and $65 million a year out of our general fund. That big sucking sound you hear coming is going into supporting or supplementing transportation. And so those two things need to happen. We need the system to create jobs and economic development, and we also need a regional funding source
That's exactly
in
right.
order to pay for it.
That's right. Minister Shabazz, we hear you already, but you can take your seat.
Mr. President?
To get your official 1 minute. Yes, sir, Mr. Smith.
Thank you, Mr. President. I've been informed that the next meeting of the Cobo Authority is to be held on Thursday, June 23rd at 8:30 a.m. at Cobo Center in floor D2 in rooms 9 and 10.
All right, can you repeat that so that
Yes,
people?
sir. That's Thursday, June 23rd at 8:30 a.m. Cobo Center, floor D2 in rooms 9 and 10.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Smith from the Law Department. Marcus Anderson. Yes, sir, you have 1 minute.
Yes, thank you. Again, thank you for this opportunity. My name is Marcus Anderson. I own a paint store called Anderson Paint Store. I'm here just to find out more about a project called Complete Street. I believe that you guys are doing markings for walkway. Well, Anderson Paint Store is a supplier. We supply traffic marking paint. We also supply the tape that you put down, the symbols that you put down. We are currently certified with the City of Detroit, Wayne County. We also certified in 10 states with the Department of Transportation. We're looking forward to working with the city. Also looking forward to give you guys the best deal, discount, and prices. Again, I just want to thank you for this opportunity. Again, my name is Marcus Anderson from Anderson Paint Store.
Member Watson.
Thank you, Mr. President. How wonderful to have a potential supplier
That's right.
come here and make sure that we have access. I don't want anybody saying we can't find any.
Right.
Help me, Holy
That's
Ghost.
right.
We don't know anybody. There is somebody. I know somebody.
Right.
Here he is at the table, so we want somebody from purchasing The mayor's office, somebody, the mayor's staff, y'all raise your hand. Okay, y'all get up now and help this guy. Help him get him into the system.
That's right.
Get him into the opportunity to make a bid on putting some yellow lines on the street. Because the public street money requires diversity, and that you give opportunity to people to live in your neighborhood. That's what the law says.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Yeah, we're glad you're here, Mr. Anderson. We want to get you connected. So,
Thank you very much.
All right, thank you. Brian, can you help get him connected? Okay. Jane Garcia. Hello there. Ms. Petway.
Hi.
You have
Good
1
morning.
minute.
Yes, may I?
Yes, ma'am. Shanika, she has something.
Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning.
Dear council members, I would first like to thank you for your assistance in protecting my home from foreclosure, which was due to the Detroit Water Board's gross billing error at 547 Lakewood Properties. The Water Board did make some concessions. This was due to Julianne Costello's constant persistence. I thank her very much. However, I strongly feel that the actions that the Water Board took needs to be reviewed. The Water Board first offered me a $4,000 water credit. This was very unacceptable, excuse me, because it did not address my delinquent tax problems. Their second attempt was adjustments to my 208, 209, and 210 taxes. Although I was very thankful for these adjustments, I still feel that the board's action is very questionable. They did not clear up my 208 balance. I am still left with $3,028.64 delinquent taxes, of which $1,095.20 are late fees. My home is still in foreclosure status. The Water Board required me to pay $125 to turn my water on. They required me to pay $385.77 before they would even make any adjustment to my taxes. Why? This is a grand total of $510.77. This is a lot of money for any unemployed person who is trying to save their home from foreclosure. Why am I being charged a late fee of $1,095.20 for a mistake made by the Water Board's billing error? Considering that the Water Board continuously charged me for water when the water was not even on at the 547 Lakewood Properties, charged me for a delinquent tax bill that I did not owe, and then leaves me holding a late fee. This is overbearing and unfair.
That's right.
I am once again imploring your help in addressing this issue.
Thank you, Ms. Petway. Member Watson.
Mr. President, first of all, I want to thank Ms. Petway for not only speaking so wonderfully last night at the Wayne County Commission hearing on foreclosures in the Terminal Henderson Auditorium, but for coming back today at my request. Your office and my office worked carefully closely with the Research Analysis Division office and the Water Department to resolve some of the issues. But that this late fee should be waived, should be eliminated, and I'm going to ask your office and my office to work with her right now. And they got to walk down to Randolph and take care of this. This is outrageous. It was their mistake, and she should not have $1,000 in late fees to pay. There should be nothing attached to her property taxes, and nor does she owe $500 more, because they overcharged her in the first place. They were charging her for years before she even got the house, when the water was just running free in the house. The neighbors tried to shut it off and couldn't get the water department to turn the water off. So we helped her. The reason she has water now is because of the city council. We need to go the last mile and help make sure that these errant fees get removed from her billing, and we just need to do that.
I also am fighting this too, because God knows that I'm kind of, they say, kind of witty.
We're going to help you, Ms. We're going to help you, Ms. Petway.
May this not happen to another resident
That's right.
of the city of Detroit. Let's stop it with me.
We got you, baby. If I have to go down there myself, we got you.
Are you going to go down there like a black tornado?
Yes, sir.
Thank God for Joanne Watson.
Thank you, Ms. Petway. Is Belda Garza here? All right, you can take that center seat. Minister Shabazz, you have 1 minute.
Give honor to God. Good morning, council.
Good morning.
And everyone else. Here on a couple points. One, Simon's Pizza, and I understand that they can go somewhere else and that they can make some money. However, where else will Simon's Pizza have the opportunity to make $30,000 in a day like some of the other businesses
That's right.
inside of Cobo Hall?
That's right.
This is the reason why
Uh-huh.
we don't need any authorities.
That's right.
We own the building.
That's right.
But we got no juice.
Well-
You know, they regionalized our court system, Recorder's Court, the water department,
Well,
the schools, and the deficit continues to grow in relation to the schools, Vision IT, and I'm glad to see my good friend and board member Harada here. But Vision IT, the #1 minority contractor within DPS, has not been paid for a year. But CompuWare, for work that's been done. But CompuWare has been paid $1.2 million in advance for work that it has not done. These are the problems we're having in Detroit. And all we're saying is Detroit is for everybody. But everybody has to include us. We want to be included in Cobo, Simon's Pizza. We want to be included in DPS, in the development and everything. I'm glad to see my Latino brothers and sisters. We are Detroit, the black, the brown, the poor white. We're a family. There's one Detroit. But we are tired. It just, Mr. President, it appears like we're losing our self-determination, our local control, our home rule. And so we're asking y'all, we come to the Common Council. Y'all used to be called Common Council for the common man. Ike, Mike, Mary, Tyrone, LaShonda, and Shaniqua, and even Junebug. Y'all represent us. So we come to y'all humbly asking you to hear our plea in the goings on and I'll conclude.
Okay.
I know the city's gonna be redeveloped and we want it to be. But what about us?
Yes, sir.
We want to be included in the economic development and we want some political juice too. So I'm close out for Simon's Pizza. And lastly, I'm gonna say this. I know y'all got heck of a fiduciary times, but perception, Mr. President.
Oh, I agree.
Perception can become reality. Now is not the time to cut police, fire, and EMS.
Okay.
Now's not that time.
Thank you. All right. And you should have you talked to the mayor about that? About not cutting police?
We will.
Okay, cool.
We're going to see him next.
All right, we have a response for you, Minister Shabazz.
Thank you, Mr. President, and thank you for all that you do in the community.
That's right.
Mr.
Thank you.
Shabazz. I just want to make the record crystal clear with regards to the police department. First of all, I would never do anything that would put police officers in harm's way, and I don't think anyone at this table would do that. But let me just say this: we had residency in this city. And it was the police and fire unions around this state that put their money behind the legislation that got rid of residency. Number two, the administration has bent over backwards to get those same employees to move back into the city by offering them houses in English Village for $1. We may find a way to do that for other city employees, but it's only been done at this time for public safety officers. Number three, all other city employees, all the other 46 unions have taken a 10% pay cut, and ASME was imposed 20%. All 46 other unions except police and fire. We haven't asked them to sacrifice one dime.
That's right.
And this body has asked for their budget to give back 2.5%. For police department, they have a $334 million budget. We haven't asked the officers to sacrifice and give back 10% of their salary. Only $8 million of a $334 million budget. It is unfair to the other city employees that are sacrificing, shared sacrifice.
That's right.
To not ask the police and fire to also share in that sacrifice to the tune of only 2.5% of their overall budget.
Say it requires no layoff.
And so I'll end with this. There's no correlation between layoffs and $8 million being cut out of your budget when your budget is $334 million. We all could go over there today and show them where they can find $8 million out of 334. There needs to be no layoffs. It's irresponsible to put that out publicly.
That's right.
And so I would expect everyone here that supports union to be supporting this body, because we're supporting the other 46 unions.
That's right.
If we don't get $8 million from them, then we have to take it from ASME, or we have to take it from one of the other unions. So there's two sides to this story. I ask you to keep an open mind. We're not doing this blindly, and we'd appreciate your support in this effort. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Vice President Pro Tem.
You have 10 seconds, Mr.
Yes, sir.
Minister.
Thank you. I'll take that 10 seconds. You know, as Queen Mother Watson always points out,
You will not get any more time for saying that.
owes us over $200 million. This goes back, as we know, to the former Governor Engler, former Mayor Archer, in relation to revenue sharing and taxation. Let's go after that money, and that can help us, at least this year, solve a lot of our problems.
That's right.
Our hard-working men and women in blue, they need us. They need a pay raise.
Okay.
And all our city employees need a pay raise.
Thank you. Thank you. All right.
Including council.
Thank you. Thank you very much. You get more from that? No, Member Spivey.
I don't want to belabor, we're going very long here, but I want to challenge everyone sitting behind us. You came down here, paid the park. Don't waste your time only coming to 13.
That's right.
After public comment,
right,
walk down, take the elevator down 2 flights, 2 floors, go to 11, and go all in that lobby in the mayor's office and let the same request be known to him.
That's right.
We heard here. So as soon as we're done, no problem. Lead the charge and go downstairs, and he'd love to hear from you. I know he would.
That's right. In fact, he's going to come out and talk to you. Joseph Stokes.
He ain't coming out.
Mr. Stokes. Ms. Garcia. Hello, beautiful. You have 1 minute.
Buenos días, City Council.
Gracias.
Joanne, gracias por hablando. Gracias to all of you that take interest in Southwest Detroit. Yes, we're still here.
That's right.
And yes, I pay my taxes every
That's right.
year.
That's right.
And I want to make sure that I go before you, because I did write a letter on the 26th of May that we asked for an oversight, that we asked for the process to be looked at, that we asked for self-determination of our community.
That's
That
right.
we actually live there and pay our taxes, and that we're still there, my God. And I just want you to know that self-determination is a real product of LACET.
That's right.
When we talk about Latin Americans for social and economic development. And what I'm saying to you is that we want you to look at the letter that we sent, that we want you to look at the process that was made. I already know my Lord and Savior came.
Come on now.
I do not want anybody else to think that they are our Lord and Savior. I want to make sure that you look at that, and that you look at the process, that it be monitored, that all the money that's owed does not go away to the city.
That's right.
That you're not held responsible, City Council, for something that was done way before your presence here. I just think it's real important, and that's what I came before you, to look at this letter, ask for an investigation, look and give the process back to our community, because we actually are there. Muchísimas gracias a todos ustedes.
Gracias. Mr. President, could we ask that the issue be line item for the appropriate committee, because I said it's in a very well-worded letter that was sent to all of our offices that laid out the issues and the response that they would like to have coming from us. Requires a council overview. I believe the Economic Development Committee.
Planning and Economic Development. Yeah. So we'll refer that to Planning and Economic Development. Thank you, Ms. Garcia.
Gracias.
Is oh yes. No, ma'am. You're next. There was a lot on here. I was trying to get to the name. Yes, ma'am. Helen Moore. Or you're a different Helen Moore. Okay. Oh. Oh. You're not the one I thought you were, though. Well, we're glad you're here. Yes, ma'am. Belda Garza. Hi, beautiful. You have 1 minute.
Thank you so much, and again, buenos dias to the honorable body. I am just here echoing what my sister Jane Garcia just stated in regards to the mercado. We want to know what is the process and what's happening with this mercado. You know, we have been kept in the dark as community residents and people who live there for years. We don't know what's going on. We've written a letter to MCDC board asking them if we can come before the board so they can let us know what's going on. They just completely ignore us. And, you know, they're governed by the Open Meetings Act. Yet we don't know where they meet, when they meet. Most of the people on that board do not live in Detroit. They live in Grosse Pointe and all other areas. The president of that board, which is Dr. Furnace Spino, she was over there at Latino Family Service, and you know something happened there. It seems like everywhere she goes, there's something happening with those boards. Also, there is somebody in that board that works for Southwest Solutions, who is one of the person that is bidding to take the mercado free of charge. They want the mercado, but they don't want to pay anything for it, and I think that's a real conflict of interest. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Ms. Garcia, Ms. Garza, we're going to have you talk with the director of our City Planning Commission to at least let you know what our options are and moving forward, because we do want to help.
Yeah, and I think there's a couple of other people that are going to testify.
Oh, cool.
Okay.
All right. Well, that's Marcel Todd. Raise your hand so they see you. So he can maybe take you in the conference room and we can get the ball rolling. Okay?
Thank you.
All right. Thank you all. Ms. Addison.
My.
You can take that center seat. Mr. Stokes, you have 1 minute.
Yes, thank you, Council.
Mr. President?
I would just like to know.
Mr. Stokes,
Yes.
I want the President to know I invited him here. He spoke last night in such an eloquent way about tears to our eyes.
Okay.
It talked about how he and his family have struggled to stay here despite serious illnesses that have compromised his family. He's trying to stay in Detroit.
Yes, I'd just like to say that I had a kidney transplant, a few years ago, and plus loss of income. My wife had breast cancer, loss of income. My son was killed December 19th down here at the club. But what I really came to say is that Chase is really kicking me out of my house. I went through a modification. It took me 11 months to give them papers, and every other month that I send them papers, they still ask for more. Now I'm behind $8,000 to $10,000, and they're getting ready to kick me out of my house without the modification. I'm just one of thousands of people in the city of Detroit that's going through this. And I can't understand why they taking so long to give me a chance to lower my interest rate, and plus, lower my interest rate. I want my home. I've been in it for 32 years. And like I said, I'm just one of a thousand. Chase is kicking me out. And like I said, I've been here 32 years. I had a lot of health problems. And I don't see any outcome. The mayor said that he's shortening the city, and we really don't have to because the banks is doing it for him.
Mr. Stokes, the young man in the vest who's coming your way is going to connect you because the Wayne County foreclosure prevention program is extremely helpful. In fact, they helped me, and so they can help you. They're really, really good. So he's going to connect you now so that because I'm sure you read in the paper, but my situation seemed like it was irreversible. But they were really helpful. They're really good at what they do. Okay, so he's going to connect you right now. Okay. All right. Thank you. All right.
Mr. President, I'm also at Charles Brown on my staff to get in touch with Chase Bank directly on behalf of this wonderful citizen, Mr. Stokes, and to just worry the heaven out of them with faxes and emails and everything to make them do the right thing. Because if the banks had been held more accountable, we would not be in the shape we are right now.
That's right.
With so many empty neighborhoods. So I just want to stand up as we have done for others.
Yeah.
But especially for Mr. Stokes, his whole family is at risk, like so many others, and he deserves somebody fighting with Chase Bank on his behalf.
Yeah, but I was in that catch-22 with another large bank who had the mortgage for my house, And so Wayne County was able to cut through all that and get right to the heart of what they needed to talk about. So they may be able to help you too, okay? All right, all
Thanks a lot.
right. Okay. Mr. Siegel? Okay. Ms. Moore, you have 1 minute.
Hi, okay,
Hi.
I'll deal with 1 minute. If you
Yeah.
deal with 5 minutes, some other time.
Yes, ma'am.
I want to talk to Ms. Watson, because I've been following Ms. Watson for years. Coleman Young and my great uncle, but I'm down on my knuckles. I'm speaking for the low income. We need weatherization, we need funding, we need a budget set aside for low income. We can't afford to live in $125,000 homes downtown. We can't afford that. I'm talking about low income. We need money for the mentally disabled. We need money for those who are displaced. We just need a budget. Give a budget. Whatever you think is fair. Now, I haven't been following you. I've been in and out of the hospital. I had MVA, moving vehicle accident, October 24th, 99, which caused a seizure. I go in and out of reality. When I have a seizure, come out 5 minutes, I'm dead. And EMS shouldn't be cut. The police shouldn't be cut, because I graduated March 15 to be a police officer. Can't do none of that. But it's up to you to help the low income. That's what
Yes,
I
ma'am.
say.
Thank you, Ms. Moore.
President, I want
Yes.
to tell Ms. Moore, Ms. Moore, that weatherization money comes from President Obama, and it can't be cut. It's
Yeah,
here.
but I will Obama. I'm stuck.
No, well, hear me. The money came from President, it's here.
Okay.
And it cannot be cut, won't be cut.
Okay.
And the reason that some of the vendors from Detroit have gotten paid was because of council.
Okay.
Some folks did the work and never got paid until city council had to put the hammer on it. All right.
Is Elena Harada?
The Honorable Elena Harada.
The Honorable Elena Harada,
School
sorry.
board member.
Yes, ma'am. Ms. Addison, you have 1 minute.
Okay, praise the Lord, everyone, and
Praise
this,
the Lord.
honorable body. I have two concerns, and the first one is that I met with the finance director, and I informed him that I'm opposed to centralizing the accounting systems and grant-funded programs. I was told by two reliable sources that he wants to take grant-funded dollars and put it into the general fund. And I confronted with him, he denied it, and he became belligerent and threatening and bullying. Which I will file charges. Secondly, I just want to say that when you take those finance systems away from the grant-funded programs, it cripples operations. The reason you can't get anything done is the finance department as it is. It goes through that process. They tie up our money. They tie up our money for almost a year. So we're left with unexpended funds that we have to send back to the federal government.
Lord have mercy.
This is where the problem lies, and this is what this mayoral administration should be dealing with, is the finance department and the folks that he appoints to these departments to continue to carry out these bad plans and decisions. I represent Head Start, and as you know, you are the governing board of Head Start.
That's right.
He has no authority to move Head Start
That's right.
accountants out of the Head Start program and place it under his department.
That's right.
And I hope that you remind him that you're the governing body and not him.
Okay.
And the second thing I
No,
want to say,
you're-
which is non-threatening, non-confrontational.
Can you make it in 10 seconds? Because your 1 minute ended a long time
I
ago.
submitted to you a proposal to generate dollars for the city of Detroit and
Yes, ma'am.
create jobs.
Okay.
You asked for that proposal and said that you would analyze it and give me a response. Now, you're cutting and cutting, but you're not coming up with any plans to generate dollars. I gave you a plan to generate millions of dollars.
Yeah, we
for the
can't,
city.
yes, ma'am, and I appreciate that. We asked for that proposal from all unions because we wanted to make sure that the mayor, who is responsible for generating those dollars, had those proposals. Because apparently in talks between unions and the mayor's office, I don't know if that had been discussed, but we wanted to make sure. But okay, well, thank you. You're,
Well, I submitted
thank
it
you.
to the mayor as well, and I haven't
Okay.
heard from him either.
Yes, ma'am, thank you.
Mr. President?
Thank you so much. Yes, ma'am.
If I can just give a point of clarity to the
Yeah.
body. With regards to the accounting of grant funds being moved over to the finance department, the allegations that have been brought forth with regard to the human services department have prompted the administration to bring all of the accounts that were responsible for handling grant funds grant funds period for the Department of Human Services has been moved over to Finance Department for a level of oversight.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Ms.
That's
Addison.
not what he told
Is-
us. He wants it for the
Yes,
general
ma'am.
fund.
Is Marguerite Madison here? Thank you, Ms. Madison.
Mr. President, could we
Yes.
have that issue line item for the Budget and Finance Committee? The whole issue of the 6 accountants that Mr. LaJana has asked be moved out of Human Services and the federal grant into general fund finance accounting.
Okay.
There's a difference between how you handle federal funds and how you handle general fund accountability, and that would put the city in further jeopardy if people who are not subject matter experts get involved in federal funds.
Okay. We will refer that to Budget Finance.
Thank you,
on it.
Mr. President.
Mr. Siegel, you have 1 minute.
Yes. Okay, first of all, I'd like to call on somebody who voted for the Presbyterian Village to make a motion to reconsider so that this could be, there could be an environmental impact statement. In Rush Park, where this thing is put together, it's a place where the asbestos goes out free as the wind. There's strange things put into the soil. There's breathing problems that people have, and some have died. And I think that this could be the focus of a suit. If somebody in there is injured, a senior, I think a good lawyer like Jeffrey Figo or Mr. Stefani could really do a good job in taking money from the city on this. The second thing is that there should be that this should go before the Research and Analysis Division, because there are far too many violations of city, state, and federal law that I could talk about if I could talk about in 1 minute if I spoke with the tongue of men and angels.
Okay.
So I think people need to do that. I hope
Thank you.
you listen.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Siegel. Is Ms. Reed here?
Yes. And Agnes Reed?
Yes, ma'am. Member Harada. Hi.
Good morning.
Good morning. We're glad you're here.
Thank you for inviting me. I'm Elena Herrera, exiled school board member from District 2. I hope that the same does not happen to our council. I would like to actually give a word of support for self-determination in our community, in District 2 in Southwest Detroit, in the Latino community, where we are losing ground every day. And one of the things that happens with public bodies such as the school board is that we're subject to the Open Meetings Act, but we have no power to make decisions or spend money or affect curriculum or the important things that public officials are expected to do, and yet we have to operate in the open or we're liable. The same thing is happening in Southwest Detroit, where private interests and foundations are able to make huge decisions without telling anyone. They can do no-bid contracts. There is a plan, a rumored plan, that the Mercado, which is the Welcome Center, is about to become owned by Southwest Solutions, which is about to be also housing a charter school there. I can't tell you on how many ways this is an affront to public life in Detroit. I would like for you to really pay attention and investigate, to look at the bidding process, to look at the zoning laws, which have basically turned our community into a large group home, but without supervision. There is a great number of people walking around the street who are in need of supervision, and it has really changed the quality of life in our community, because we need police, fire, and supervisors of people more than ever, and there are people controlling things in our community who do not live there. And the people who do live in our community are overburdened with a tax burden for taking care of people who don't have to pay any taxes because nonprofits more or less own them. This is a concern that I have, and I would like for the council to really investigate it on a much broader level. It affects our voting rights, it affects our residents, it affects our taxes, it affects our schools, it affects our businesses. Every way in which the community lives and thrives is affected by forces over which we have no control, for whom we do not vote, and who don't have to account to anyone.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. And we have referred this matter to Planning and Economic Development.
Mr. President?
Yes, ma'am.
The Mercado, I remember when they got a whole lot of economic empowerment zone money that did not come to the central part of Detroit. So at the request of a whole lot of Southwest citizens who came and demanded that that there be empowerment zone money provided for them. So how did you all let somebody that doesn't live in the community take over the Welcome Center?
Because that wasn't us. That was not us.
Who is it?
There's an authority which has control of it. They're asking to get that building for free, to have all the back liens removed or
Okay.
forgiven.
Okay, all right.
So we'll vet this out in committee and see what.
This is very important to the Latino community
That's
in
right.
Detroit.
Yes,
Thank
ma'am.
you.
Thank you very much.
That's why we
Member
funded the
Cockrell.
Mercado Center, that they came and advocated for.
Since, first off, Mr. President, just for the record, I do want to state that the reason why I was late getting here today is because I was attending my youngest son's kindergarten promotion ceremony.
It's going to the first grade.
I just want to state that for the record. But on this particular issue, I don't know if somebody asked for it earlier. If not, I'm going to ask for it. If we could perhaps maybe get a summary of events and a chronology, kind of like a timeline of everything that has gone on with the Mercado. And I'm recommending that CPC prepare that and submit it to the council as soon as possible.
Okay, Mr. Todd is speaking with them now, but is there somebody else from CPC who can make sure that, okay, yes, to make sure we get that request? All right.
It has been a long-standing, long drawn-out issue, dating back more than 10 years.
Okay.
And also detail the amount of empowerment zone money that went into that.
Yeah.
Okay, did you all note that we
Millions.
want that in the report as well?
Millions and millions.
Okay. Ms. Maddox, you have 1 minute.
Thank you. My reason for being here today is, number one, why is it so hard for people with no income to get a two-bedroom apartment in and around downtown Detroit? Two, every time my partner and I go into any public places that serve the public, we are denied access, which is against the law, by the way. And they are denying us the right to eat in the restaurants. And third is that I am going to inform the city council and the city of Detroit to please take part of the assistant dog week, which will be coming up in August. My role will be is to educate the public about the different kinds of service dogs. They are different kinds of service dogs now. They are not just for the blind or the visually impaired. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, my love. Mother Holmes?
Mr. President, can we route that to the task force that's handling ADA and compliance to help our citizens who have challenges? Who is head of that task force?
I'm not sure.
Somebody in
I think it's Councilmember Jenkins. I'm not sure.
Okay, and
I
so,
can hear you.
Or perhaps city planning
Speak up,
commission can help.
please.
One more issue for CPC then, Mr. President, to address making all public buildings and even private buildings ADA compliant, and also assisting Ms. Maddox with access to apartments that she could have access to renting for those who have disabling conditions. Thank you.
Okay. Ms. Reed, you have 1 minute.
All right, thank you. I'm here on behalf of Lennox Block Club, and I live on Lennox, and right there at Jefferson, we have this apartment building where the firemen got hurt. That building has been open several times. I have gotten, this the third time I have had it boarded up. Now I'm going to the fourth time. I'm trying to get someone to come out there and secure that building. I don't just talk the talk, I walk the talk.
Go ahead.
And I go out there and I adopt those vacant lots, I cut the grass, I make sure I had faced death 3 times. I done had 2 guns put on me.
Oh, Lord.
But I'm still here.
What you say?
And they come to my house with one. So I told the young man, I said, if nobody taught you how to respect grown people.
Come on now.
I said, I'm going to be your mama today.
What you say? What you say?
I said, I'm going to take you. And I'm gonna put you across my lap and I'm gonna whip you till you rope like a.
What you say? What you say?
He had the gun and he pulled it out and popped it at me, but then no bullet come out.
What you say?
So he got in his car and left. I said, you're not gonna play basketball in this street, you're not gonna break in that house, and you're not gonna sell drugs over here.
What you say?
Amen. And so we got to get together.
That's right.
And get the alternative workers come out, paint these buildings, fix them up if they're not real bad criminals. Let them not just sit in the jail. Let them come out and help straighten this city out.
That's right.
The address is 13115. And I want someone to come out there and board that building up and secure it. I go and walk around and ask people. I talk to the young people and let them know. I've been in this city since 1963. I came to visit. 64, I moved here.
Okay.
Because I love this city.
Amen.
And I want that song to say, hello, Detroit, you won my heart. I want them to pipe that out everywhere and then wake up everybody and teach each other how to do it. That's what I want done in my city. I don't want nobody disrespecting the city of Detroit.
That's right.
And I fight for it.
What you say?
So I don't get back no further, I'm not back.
Yes, sir.
So you all pray for me, and I pray for you all that we can get together as a human being and make this a beautiful city. That's why I moved here in the first place.
Go on now.
So y'all, thank you for listening.
Is it 13115 Lennox?
I've called all of the.
Pardon me?
13115 Lennox?
Yes, and Council Joanne Watson and Councilman Kenyatta, they've been on my block. And on my block, they paved all the streets all around, but they skipped mine, from Kirchwood to Jefferson. They've been out there and walked. It's terrible over there, that street. We need some, what's those thing you put in the street?
Speed bumps.
Speed bump. We need
Yes,
those
ma'am.
in the city of Detroit, because these people have lost their mind. They don't know how to drive. And I want to raise the age up to 20 before they can get a car.
Brian, can you walk her down to BS&E? Ms. Reed, we want you to go down to Building Safety and Engineering. Brian is going to walk with you down there so that you can give them the specific address and make sure you are as passionate. Ask for Miss James. Miss James runs the department.
Miss James.
James. Kim James. Okay, so Brian's going to take you. Okay. All right.
And we can line item it for public health and safety.
Yeah, we'll line item that building for.
He's so happy about it.
I saw him roll his eyes, but okay. All right, Miss Mother Holmes. Hey Brian, can you walk her down? Shanika, can you deal with that card issue? I called all the names on the cards that I have. All right, Mother Holmes.
She turned in a card.
I called all the names. We'll have her coming up, but I called all the names of the cards I have. Ma'am, come on up. Mother Holmes, you have 1 minute.
Good morning, Council.
Hi, good morning.
I love every one of you.
We love you.
And I know from my heart that you all are working awfully hard. Thank you for all you're doing for the time to help out the city. Lord, thank you for all your many blessings.
Yes.
Dear Lord, look on our council this morning. Bless
the rest of the people that are here. Dear Lord, we are in need. We are in need, Lord. There's so many things need doing. And there's so many people kicking against us. Lord, bless us the more. Let the council be able to do its job without interference. Let things get better for us, oh God, I'm asking. Lord, we need you. Help our city.
Yes.
Help our council. Make the way not hard. Lord, I pray. Father, this was once a happy place. Council is working extra hard, not getting a whole lot of support. Lord, you can do all things. Please look on them. Give them the strength they need to bring our city back. Help us, Lord. Let each of us be willing to do our share to bring Detroit back. Lord, walk with our council. Give them strength. Help them, I pray. And Lord, help the have and have-nots. Lord, we have homeless people, hungry people. Lord, you know all things. And Father, I'm asking in your name that you help us. Help us back to where we once were.
Yes, Lord.
Lord, bless our people. Bless them. Lord, learned a lot today. Oh, Father, please help our people. And above all, be with our council. Keep them safe and from all hurt, harm, or danger. Lord, I'm asking in your name. Jesus, with you we can make it. Take away the just people that don't want to work with us, don't want to do their share. Give them a heart. And Lord, bless us in a many ways. I pray in your name, Father. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Ghost. Amen.
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 Thank you. Where's? Yes, ma'am. You have 1 minute.
Good morning, City Council. My name is Stacy Ross Streeter. I'm a downtown resident and a member of the Downtown CDC. I come to your honorable body today as an avid supporter of the Simon's Pizza. I've been supporting them for over 10 years in their various locations. And we were down on June 6th, and we protested in support of Simon's. And Mr. Tom Constad, he is the principal of Star Constad, that's the public relations firm. And he reneged on having a meeting with all interested parties before evicting Simon's Pizza. Also, I watched your meeting of June 2nd, and Member Watson, I heard her make a request to RAD and to the law department as far as the contract review for discrepancies with the contract. Just want to know what the status of that is, if they have reviewed the contract for violations, RAD and the law department, as it relates to Simon's Pizza.
Okay.
Mr. President,
Yes,
I made
ma'am.
that request in the Neighborhood and Community Services Committee chaired by Member Canady. So the request would come, that report would come back to that committee, which meets on Thursday at 1 o'clock.
Okay.
We also requested that Raymond Guilbeault, a mayoral appointee on that COBO board, come and talk to us during that committee, which meets on Thursdays at 1.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Streeter. All right, that concludes public comment. Understanding committee reports for Budget, Finance, and Audit from the Finance Department Purchasing Division.
Councilmember Cockrell, 3 resolutions.
Member Cochran.
Mr. President, I move adoption of the 3 resolutions.
It's been moved. Is there any discussion or objection? All right, hearing no objections, the 3 resolutions will be approved. From Budget.
Councilmember Cockrell, a resolution number 38.
Member Cockrell.
Mr. President, I move adoption of the resolution.
It's been moved. Is there any discussion? Is there any objection?
Well,
Oh,
actually, you know what?
yeah, discussion?
Yeah, I probably should ask this because we found out during the committee that the tax statement that we had been provided was actually not the right one. So just want to make sure if that's been corrected so that what we're voting on today is indeed correct. Through you to Mr. Corley.
Okay, Mr. Corley.
Mr. President, yes, an updated copy was submitted at the end of the Budget, Finance, and Audit Committee last Wednesday, and I believe Ms. Japtepke, the clerk's office now has the updated copy. Just want to make sure.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
the clerks at the committee meeting did have the original document that was referred to the committee on, the 2011 document. So the clerk did have that in the committee meeting on last Wednesday. I did confirm that.
Okay. All right, okay. Is there any objection? All right, hearing no objection, that resolution will be approved. Internal Operations Standing Committee, the Mayor's Office.
Councilmember Spivey, a resolution number 39.
Member Spivey.
Mr. President, move approval of the resolution.
It's been moved. Is there any discussion? Or
Mr. President, I
yes,
just have
ma'am.
one question. Do you know the residency of Mr. Crane?
Do not, Madam
All right.
Ali, I was out the last meeting. I can yield to Councilmember Tate.
Was a resident of Detroit, lives on Baltimore Street, according to the resume here.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Okay, thank you. Is there any objection? Baltimore, new sitter. You thinking about your objection, or?
That's probably his office address.
I think Baltimore, I think that's actually their business address. But I am.
There are some, what do you call those things? Lofts on Baltimore that are near like John R. and Brush.
Yeah, I'm just thinking of where he works, and I'm pretty sure their company address is on Baltimore. But it doesn't matter to me. I'm going to support it anyway.
All right.
Okay. All right, is there any objection? All right, hearing none, that resolution's approved. From the Finance Department Purchasing Division.
Councilmember Spivey, 4 resolutions, noting that number 43 was reported out of internal operations without recommendation.
Oh, all right. Member Spivey.
Mr. President, we approve the resolutions, and if I can speak to number 43.
Okay,
We've
please.
had this line item come back before. It is renewal of the contract. I do believe that those interested parties did speak with Brad Dick from GSD and had the meeting. We had 2 of them came okay with the contract, and we're prepared to vote on it moving forward.
Okay. Yes, sir.
Also, just for further clarification, there was some conversation about the individuals who received the bid for the contract, if they had their certification prior to receiving the contract, or if it was afterwards. We have documentation that shows that they were certified prior to.
Okay.
There was also a challenge that this was work that our employees had done, and we also have documentation that was provided through the committee that shows that we have not provided this service in terms of employees for at least 12 years.
Okay, a dozen years. Okay. Thank you. Member Watson.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'm glad the clerk is here, Madam Clerk. Number 40, in which there is a $40,000 cost per year for folding and processing election-related materials, since there is no election scheduled for 2011. The next election will be 2012.
That's not so. There is an election, the general election is in November 2011. General School Board, and then the Charter Commission is going to put their question or pose their proposal on the ballot.
But there's no primary.
There's no primary, that's
Right.
correct.
So the cost for 2011 ought to be substantially lower than the 2012, and it's as if they divided them up in equal segments.
No.
I was concerned, pardon me?
No, not necessarily, because we have the presidential primary that will give us 3, if you will, elections in 2012. So it'll all pan out.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Okay, thank you. Other discussion? Are there any objections? All right, hearing no objections, those 4 resolutions will be approved from the Law Department.
Councilmember Spivey, 8 resolutions, numbers 44 through 51.
Member Spivey.
Mr. President, move approval of the resolutions.
All right.
And I wish to be recorded as a no on line item 44.
Okay, once we start that voting,
Sir?
we will record that. Is there any discussion after the motion? You ready to go no?
Yes.
Okay, all right. Member Watson, any discussion, or are you voting?
A discussion, I read a wonderful memo from President Pro Tem challenging the Law Department for suggesting a settlement that was larger than the settlement of an arbitrator in a particular case. And I just, prior to this memo, I had assumed that the Law Department's recommendation for settlement was all based on some real hard and fast figure in order to save the city. But it takes me back to the Chicago example of how they're saving money by not settling. In so many cases, the city of Detroit absolutely needs to, which is what we asked for during the budget season this year, not go down the same road of settling and ending up paying more money than any other city in legal settlements when we can least afford it. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Member Watson. Member Tate.
Thank you, Mr. President. And I don't disagree at all with the issue of settlement. Many of these cases I have a problem with, but I do know that in some of the cases where you have mediation that is lower than the actual settlement, some additional information has come out without going to the details that unfortunately drives the settlement out. I believe that was the case in this situation.
Okay. All right, is there other discussion? All right, so we have an objection for 44.
44 through 51.
Okay.
All settlements going forward.
I'm knowing everything.
Okay, so we have 3 objections, and noting those 3 objections, wait, 1, 2. So can they pass? How many do we have? 7. Yes, okay, why would they 4? Okay, then the 8 resolutions are approved from the city's clerk's office.
Councilmember Spivey, resolution number 52.
Member Spivey.
Mr. President, move approval of the 1 resolution.
All right, it's been moved. Is there any discussion?
Who are the principals, Mr. President?
President, you need to James Tate, colleague Tate.
I'm sorry, what was the question?
Principals.
Who are the principals of this Youth and Family
For
Services Act?
52, for 52.
President of our letter, we have Diane Martin here, who is the president of the organization, Steg Reg and Associates Youth and Family Services.
Okay, Diane Martin.
And how long have they been operating in the city?
Madam Chair, I don't know that, colleague, I don't know that question. If you have any questions, we can send it back to committee.
Well,
Get the information that you need.
it's a generic sounding title, and rather ubiquitous Youth and Family Services Inc. I just want to know, there is very similar to a lot of other existing long-standing organizations, and I just want to know who the principals are, see if they're Detroit residents and what they've been doing with youth and family.
We can send it back, colleague, if you like.
Is that a motion to send it back, or?
Oh,
Well, whoever supported, did they come before the committee and?
I yield to my colleague, I wasn't there that day.
Okay.
No,
My colleague.
I mean, this is not uncommon for the individuals who are seeking these petitions not to come before the committee. And we just base it upon the information that we have in front of us.
But you don't know, you can't tell me anything about them. I just want to know who they are.
I can provide you with documentation.
Madam Keller, he's correct. When we get these, they rarely come to the table. We get the background information. They're looking for a temporary gaming license to have an event at
That's
one
why
of
I'm
the local
asking the
hotels.
question.
Right.
So if your name is Youth and Family, Inc., why would you need a gaming license? That's exactly why I'm asking the
It's a
question.
fundraiser. It's a fundraiser for the organization.
But why would you need to gamble for Youth and Family? Help me, somebody. All
All
right,
right,
Mr. President. Go ahead, Mr. President, I'll just vote no.
This is not new. We've had these all year long,
Yeah.
before we got to council.
Okay.
I don't think the name, what they do prohibits them from having, Catholic Church does it all the time. Bingo every week.
The youth don't get to be. I know, bingo, church, yeah.
That's gambling. They gamble also.
Yeah. Lottery, that good 4-digit, yeah.
Not with my dime.
All right. Is there any other discussion? Is there any objection?
Yes.
All right. Noting the one objection, that resolution is approved for Neighborhood Community Services from the Finance Department Purchasing Division.
Councilmember Kenyatta, two resolutions, 53 and 54.
Member Kenyatta.
So I'll take a gamble, Mr. President. Move approval.
No gambling at the table. It's been moved. Is there any discussion?
Add item 53 and 54.
All right. Any objection?
A no in 53, Mr. Chair.
All right. Any other objections? All right, noting the one objection, then those two resolutions are approved. And I'm sure Shane Park is happy they'll be getting their equipment to cut down on some of the echo. For the Planning and Economic Development Standing Committee from the Finance Department Purchasing Division.
Councilmember Kenyatta, five resolutions, 55 through 59.
All right, Member Kenyatta.
President, move approval of resolutions.
All right, it's been moved. Is there any discussion? Is there any objection? All right, hearing-
Objection 59.
Okay, noting the one objection, then those resolutions are approved. There is a motion for a waiver on 55. Is there a motion?
So moved.
All right, is there any objection to a waiver on 55? All right, hearing none, there's a waiver on 55. There's a motion for a waiver, request for a waiver on 58. Is there a motion?
For which number?
Number 58.
So moved.
All right, motion's been made. Is there any objection to a waiver on 58? All right, hearing none, the waiver's been placed. There's a request for a waiver on 59. Is there a motion?
So moved, Mr. Chair.
All right, it's been moved. Is there any objection to placing the waiver? All right, hearing no objection, then there's a waiver on 59. From the City Planning Commission.
Councilmember Kenyatta, introduction of an ordinance number 60.
Member Kenyatta.
Mr. President, I move that the ordinance be read twice by title, ordered, printed, and laid on the table.
Thank you, Member Kenyatta. Is there any objection? Hearing no objection, that action will be taken from the City Planning Commission.
Councilmember Kenyatta, a resolution setting a public hearing.
Member Kenyatta.
So moved, Mr. President.
All right, hearing no objection, that resolution, well, is there any objection? All right, hearing no objection, that resolution will be approved from the City Planning Commission.
Councilmember Kenyatta, introduction of an ordinance number 62.
Member Kenyatta.
Mr. President, I move that the ordinance be read twice by title, ordered, printed, and laid on the table.
Is there any objection? Hearing no objection, that action will be taken from the City Planning Commission.
Councilmember Kenyatta, a resolution setting a public hearing.
Member Kenyatta.
So moved, Mr. President.
It's been moved. Is there any discussion or objection? Hearing no objection, the resolution is approved from the City Planning Commission.
Councilmember Kenyatta, introduction of an ordinance number 64.
Member Kenyatta.
Mr. President, I move that the ordinance be read twice by title, ordered, printed, and laid on the table.
All right, is there any objection? Hearing no objection, that action will be taken from the City Planning Commission.
Councilmember Kenyatta, a resolution setting a public hearing.
Member Kenyatta.
So moved, Mr. President.
All right, it's been moved. Is there any discussion or objection? Hearing no objection, that resolution is approved from the City Planning Commission.
Councilmember Kenyatta, introduction of an ordinance number 66.
Mr. Kenyatta.
Mr. President, I move that the ordinance be read twice by title, ordered, printed, and laid on the table.
Do you mean it this time? Is there any objection? Hearing no objection, that action will be taken from the City Planning Commission.
Councilmember Kenyatta, a resolution setting a public hearing.
Member Kenyatta.
So moved, Mr. President.
Any discussion or objection? Hearing no objection, that resolution is approved from the Planning and Development Department.
Councilmember Kenyatta, 9 resolutions.
Member Kenyatta.
Mr. President, I move approval of the 9 resolutions.
All right, it's been moved. Is there any discussion? Is there any objection? Hearing no objections, the 9 resolutions are approved.
Mr. President, I
Yes,
move for a waiver on 76.
Okay, there's a motion been made. Is there any objection?
Mr. President?
Hearing none.
Just for clarity, on 76, my understanding now that a win-win situation has been offered with the community garden, and that the lease will be offered to them free of charge. Is that correct?
I would need to continue.
For the use of the garden, of the remaining land that is left for a garden, my understanding, I was given a note that you would lease that to them at no cost.
Should there be remaining space after my development plan is complete, should they provide proper insurance documentation to continue gardening on
We
my
get on the
lands?
record, Mr. President.
Okay, Ms. Blondie, can you come to
Thank you.
the,
Thank you.
where's CPC? Yep, right there. Okay.
I believe when I was here last week that Councilwoman Jenkins.
I'm sorry, I believe when I was here last week that Councilwoman Jenkins had asked the Planning Commission and the Planning Department to work to find an alternate location for the garden. However, my development plans will certainly not be completed before the end of this growing season, and I do wish to continue allowing them to garden through the end of this growing season. In the future, depending on my development plans, and depending on whether or not they're able to put proper insurance waivers and such in place, I see no problem letting them continue gardening on my excess land.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Okay. Is there any objection to the waiver being placed on 76?
I do at this time.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. All right, but 76 is approved, so congratulations.
Thank you all
And,
very much. I appreciate all of you.
Okay.
Mr. President, I'd like to move a waiver on 74 and 75.
Okay, there's been a motion made. Is there any objection to those motions for waivers on 74, 75? All right, hearing no objection, then those waivers are placed. All right. For the Public Health and Safety Committee, from the Finance Department Purchasing Division.
Council President Pro Tem Brown, 20 resolutions noting that numbers 81 through 86 were reported out of the Public Health and Safety Standing Committee with stipulations.
Pro Tem.
Mr. President, I move adoption of the 21 resolutions with discussion.
All right. It's been moved, and that sounds important. Stipulations, that's the first I've seen that.
Well, the administration indicated that they would get Mr. Tate some information by the time we vote, and I'd like to know if they will answer the question.
All right, Member Tate, did you get your questions answered?
You know, one of the issues that with the power outage last week, it did put a lot of our issues behind.
Okay.
These were not, these that I had here were not pressing in the door close on these contracts for my approval.
Okay.
So I would move approval.
Okay.
And if I have any additional questions, we will do so without a waiver. If I have any additional questions, I will submit those.
All right, and we're dealing with numbers 77 through 96?
Yes.
All right, but the stipulations were on 81 through 86.
86.
Yep. Okay. Is there any other discussion? Is there any objection? All right, I like to be recorded as a no on 88. All right, noting the one objection, then those resolutions.
I'd like to be voted no on everything.
Okay, noting those two objections, then those 20 resolutions are approved. There is a motion, there is a request for a waiver on 93. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Okay. Motion's been made. Is there any objection to placing a waiver on 93? All right, hearing no objection, then there's a waiver on 93. From the Finance Department, Purchasing Division,
Council President Pro Tem Brown, a resolution number 97, noting that this was reported out of Public Health and Safety Standing Committee without recommendation.
thank you, Madam Clerk. Pro Tem,
Mr. President, I move adoption of the resolution.
it's been moved. Is there any discussion? Is there any objection? Oh,
Question,
yeah.
just question why it was
Yes.
brought out without recommendation?
Uh-huh.
Any reason why it came out without recommendation?
Pro Tem?
Through you, to Mr. Chair.
Can't remember?
Yeah, no, I can't, I'm sorry. It was a Hercules and Hercules contract. It was a Hercules and
Because of that?
Hercules
Okay,
contract.
all right.
And the issue, as I recall, was, had to do with the MISH, had they put it out.
Oh, my deal?
My deal.
My deal,
My
okay.
deal.
Okay, all right.
We didn't get that question answered, so.
Okay. Is there any objection?
No, but I wish we can get that information in the future. We ask every
Trying.
meeting. I know we ask, not just for your committee, but every committee.
Every
We
committee.
ask. We ask every week.
Mm-hmm.
Put that in the notes.
The purpose is, to,
Right.
to make sure that we're saving money, that we
Exactly.
have the lowest price, so. All right, I'd like to be recorded as a no on 97, and noting the one objection, then that resolution is approved. From the Police Department,
Council President Pro Tem Brown, two resolutions, 98 and 99.
Pro Tem,
Mr. President, I move adoption of the two resolutions.
it's been moved, is there any discussion? Is there any objection?
I'd like to report as no on 99.
Okay, and noting the one objection, those two resolutions are approved. From the Public Works Department,
Council President Pro Tem Brown, four resolutions, 100 through 103.
Pro Tem,
Mr. President, I move adoption of the four resolutions.
they've been moved, is there any discussion? Is there any objection? Which ones, for all of them?
Yes.
Okay. Noting the objection to all four, and those four resolutions are approved. From the Water and Sewage Department,
Council President Pro Tem Brown, a resolution number 104.
Pro Tem.
Mr. President, I move adoption of the water resolution.
All right, it's been moved. Is there any discussion? Is there any objection? Hearing none, that resolution is approved. We now move to new business. Under resolutions,
Councilmember Cockrell, a resolution number 1.
Member Cockrell.
Mr. President, I move adoption of the resolution.
It's been moved. Is there any discussion? Is there any objection? All right, hearing no objection, that resolution's approved. Under resolutions,
Councilmember Watson, two resolutions.
Member Watson.
Mr. President, move approval of the resolution.
It's been moved. Is there any discussion? Is there any objection? Hearing no objection, those two
Mr. President?
resolutions. Yes.
Just to alert the council, line item number 6, and we will talk about that, of course, when you get there.
Yeah, we'll talk about it.
That adversely affects line item number 2. So how do I explain this? I just want to point that out to you.
6 does?
It does. It does. So we'll talk about number 6, but I just wanted to alert you on record.
You want to get us ready for number 6?
Yeah.
At number 4. All right, thank you so much, Mr.
Mr. President, a waiver on
Mr.
2 and 3, please.
All right, there's a motion for a waiver. Is there any objection? All right, hearing none, those are waivers on 2 and 3. Under testimony and resolutions and special privilege,
Council President Pro Tem Brown, on behalf of Council President Pugh, two resolutions, 4 and 5.
thank you, Pro Tem.
Mr. President, I move adoption of the two resolutions.
All right, it's been moved. Is there any discussion? Is there any objection? Hearing no objection, those two resolutions are approved. All right, so now we have some referrals to do. President's report on standing committee referrals and other matters for budget.
One report from the Budget Department.
Okay, so now let me ask you this, colleagues, what is your pleasure? This is the budget amendment, this $30 million budget amendment from the mayor's office. So the question is, would we want to, the request is for us to discuss this and to possibly vote on it on Tuesday. So what's your pleasure, colleagues? Would you want to do, because budget is canceled for tomorrow, would you want to do a committee of the whole on Tuesday morning to discuss this and then possibly vote on it on Tuesday at formal? or would you want to refer it to budget for next week and then have it and vote on it on the 28th? All right, so Cockrell's hand was first, followed by Pro Tem, Tate, and Spivey. Member Cockrell.
Mr. President, my preference would be that it still go to the committee, consistent with our procedure. I mean, if a committee of the whole were to be scheduled at some point, I wouldn't have a problem with that, because I'm sure the entire council is going to have to engage in a discussion on this anyway at some point in order to do the approvals associated with it. But I don't think that we should bypass the committee process. And for the record, the reason why we have to schedule the committee tomorrow is because Councilmember Jones is out of town, I believe, attending a pension board conference. And as I mentioned earlier, my youngest son had his kindergarten promotion. My oldest son is graduating from Cass Tech tomorrow. And though that's
Can't miss that.
Yeah, and no, that's supposed to start at 10 o'clock. You know, just to give you an example, my youngest son was in a class of only 28, and they started 30 minutes behind schedule. My oldest son will be graduating from a class of 478. Wow. The event is so massive, it's going to be at Ford Field. So I anticipate it's going to go for several hours, and will also probably start behind schedule. Okay. So I'm basically going to be out of the loop for most of the day.
All right.
And what does not happen-
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Member Spivey can hold it down by himself.
But again, getting back to the point, I would like to see this go to the committee. The reality is, we have technically until the 28th to approve it. Really, later than that, if we were to do an adjourned
session, yeah.
after Tuesday the 28th.
So would we still, colleagues, want to do the committee of the whole on Tuesday before formal, like a committee of the whole at 9 to discuss this?
I'll wait, I'll go in order.
Okay. All right, I'll place you on the list, Member Kenyatta, after Spivey. Next is Pro Tem, followed by Tate.
I just concur with the Chair of Budget and Finance. There's plenty of time to not let the administration's emergency become our urgency, to allow the process.
But they're going to close bathrooms at Belle Isle.
Yeah. Again,
they're going to shut down Hart Plaza, and the hoedown won't happen. Oh, wait, the hoedown's already happened. Okay.
Yeah. Next year. I support it going to, through the process. You know, I'm hopeful it'll never come out of committee.
Oh, well. All right. Next is Member Tate, followed by Spivey, followed by Kenyatta.
Thank you, Mr. President. I believe that it's imperative that we review the amendments as soon as possible, so that we do have an opportunity to deliberate. Now, we said during the process that if there were any amendments, send them forward.
Right.
And I think it would be disingenuous for us to hold off, until right before it's time for it to be sent off for us to do that. So I would recommend that the next available date for us to have a committee of the whole, we do have a discussion.
Right.
And then from that point, we determine when we vote, if there's any additional questions from there. Because I think, to me, this is much more important than just a timeline. This is now at a point where, and I've said this before, city services, and I'm not getting to the bathroom shut down at Belle Isle, but just the
They're going to close Belle Isle Beach.
the city services. That's my issue. I mean, when we start talking about, grass cutting, that's a problem for me. We talk about, the fact
Bus
that
service.
That's a huge issue for me. So I would like for us to have as much time as we can to deliberate these items, and have them before us, so that we can have, in good faith effort, do all that we can to bring the proper resolution to this issue. And I understand that, the veto override, that is a process. That
Right.
has played itself out. But
Right.
again, we did say if there were any amendments, send them forward. And it sounds like that is what is coming. And again, it would be very disingenuous if we say that, no, we don't want to hear your amendments at this point. We've already spoken.
Okay.
Mr. President,
Hold on.
opportunity. You can't
I
just
know,
start
but
talking.
I'm the chair in this meeting, and I'm going to call on the people who speak. So hold on.
I said when you allow me the
All right.
opportunity.
Okay, cool. All right. Member Tate, you still have the floor.
Thank you.
Okay. Member Spivey.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I do agree with my colleague that we ought to receive the amendments. However, we have insinuated circumstances this week. One colleague is off from pension business, one is dealing in family matters, and we didn't anticipate this. So I agree going through the process, but what I will say is, I'm disappointed when the threatening of cuts are put out there and it's not put into perspective.
Right.
I want Detroit to know the budget right now doesn't end till June 30th.
That's right.
What we're dealing with right now starts July 1st.
Right.
So Belle Isle's gonna be open for the next 15, 20 days. And buses, and beyond. Everything that was listed that we've heard thus far, it probably will go on.
Right.
But we ought not, and I said it before, about 3 weeks
Preach,
ago,
Pastor, preach.
that we have, whether at this table on 11, our words
Come on now.
That's
can
right.
incite riot
That's right.
or peace.
That's right.
And
That's
we gotta
right.
be very careful.
That's right.
And I've heard from a former high-level city official to the common folk on the street that with foreclosure, high grass, violence, education, that the atmosphere is almost reminiscent of 1967. We don't need that right now.
Right.
And so from this council table, from 11, let's go through the process. Let's not scare people. We have
too late.
we have
It's
till
too late
June
for
30th.
prescribing.
We have to do on not on our behalf.
No, not
on
us.
11, but
Yeah.
we have to June 30th. Let's go through the process. If we get it done next Wednesday, we have an opportunity for an adjourned session at the end of next week. If they
Right.
can't wait until the 21st.
Or later later after the
or later
committee.
that afternoon. So,
Yeah.
so I
Or even the
suggest
next day.
we go through the process. I support my committee chair, and as I told the administration, as Mayor McGuire, show me the money. Let's see the 20 coming. I want to see the documentation as well as the 10 that may be coming as additional
So-
state revenue if we get it.
So you mean
I support.
you don't agree with a packet of worst-case scenarios being passed out to the media?
Not at all. I think it's irresponsible. I think it's irresponsible at the same time that you're talking to us. You're setting up meetings.
Oh, yeah.
As to what you want to do.
Ongoing talks.
At the same time, you're talking to us, you're sending out things to the media. You want our support, but yet you're saying this could happen. Let's talk first. And we do the same thing we did last year. Last year was parks. This year is people mover, bus routes, bathrooms, beaches. So I support going through the process. We can get it done Wednesday if it passes, then send it through an adjourned session, and let's move forward. But be very careful of the message we send to the people in our community from this table, and particularly from 11. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you very much. Next, we have Member Kenyatta, followed by Watson, followed by Ms. Denise. And Mr. Corley.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Yes, Member Kenyatta.
Thank you, Mr. President. I agree with going through the process, and the process, as I see it, in approving the budget is that we become a committee of the whole of the Budget and Finance Committee. And that being the case, then we're still in the process of receiving amendments and approving the budget, and we have not completed that process. I, of course, put the resolution on the table for the committee, so I definitely support the committee process. However, when we come to dealing with the budget, that process becomes something different. Now, it's a question of when we have the meeting. I agree that our colleagues who are not here and the graduation, that is something that we should deal with and respect. However, as soon as possibly can, it should be a committee of the whole
That's
of
right.
the committee
That's
of
right.
the Budget and Finance. That is the process of approving the budget,
That's right.
including receiving the amendments.
That's right.
Without any game plan whatsoever. I think the mayor has played enough games, and we don't need to play any games along with that. I do
That's
think
right.
that it's completely irresponsible, disrespectful, as usual, to put the information out there that council is, first it said 200 police officers, now I see it's down to 40 and a few others or whatever the case. We don't make that determination. That's right. And there was room for that not to happen. I agree with the Vice President Pro Tem, however, not often, as long as he's not repeating the C word, but consent agreement, but I do agree with him. I think it is disrespectful, distasteful that the fire union would put out a PA say on this council that
That's
we're
right.
up to it as usual, up to our tricks as usual. This council, they put money back into
We fought
the
for
budget
that.
and EMS
That's
on
right.
last year.
Yes, we
And
did.
it is that same union, you're absolutely correct, and police, which you remember the force at that time, but maybe didn't support it. It was those unions that went to Lansing and took $20 million plus out of our budget by eliminating residency.
Right.
So you're absolutely correct, but I do take the position with the lone vote against the override that we need to do this as soon as possible and do it through the process, and the process is the committee of the whole under the Budget and Finance Committee. Thank you.
So you would be in support of a committee of the whole, maybe Tuesday
I'll be in
at
support of
9?
us completing the process, and that is the process.
Okay. Next is Member Watson, followed by Ms. Gardner.
Thank you, Mr. President. Appreciate the opportunity. Let me say I appreciate everything my colleagues have said. I think it's important to restate that there is a $220 million owed to the city of Detroit as we speak by the state of Michigan, and the governor's chief of staff has admitted same with his mouth. When somebody admits with their mouth, I owe you, they ought to pay. And who should receive that? The mayor should receive it. The council has already done the hard work of passing a resolution, legislation, which is equal to law, saying we want our money. There's no deficit, there'd be no cuts, no need for any amendments. If the mayor would just simply take the council resolution, go to Lansing, and have one of his weekly meetings with the governor and get our money.
I think they meet here in Detroit.
They meet, well, even better, if they're meeting in Detroit, submit the, get our money. $220 million, no cuts. No cuts, no 1-year-1 playoff. Secondly, the city council has done the hard work of meeting with unions. We had an historic meeting with all the unions in the Ermel Henderson Auditorium, and all of the unions who were present said they would not mind if there was some alternative route taken to health care, which is what we've been arguing for. The city's been paying almost $200 million to Blue Cross Blue Shield of the $300 million we pay in health care. You could save that $200 million, or some portion of it, by getting out of Baylor Blue Cross Blue Shield, which is giving us the blues. So, we've offered up $100 million we could save in healthcare, and unions have said yes. Disconnect that from privatization and pension stuff. They said yes to different healthcare, so take it. So you got the $220 million, which is already owed, already documented by the city's lobbyists, and the governor's chief of staff has admitted they owe it. Go get that money. Get your $100 million back from Blue Cross Blue Shield, which is being sued by President Barack Obama's Justice Department right now for overcharging, and for antitrust active, right currently being sued. So we're going to stay in business with Blue Cross Blue Shield? That's irresponsible. We need to save that $100 million. We need to get back our $220 million. There's no deficit. This business of we're going to cut and council is doing this, and it is a scare tactic, and it's irresponsible and action unworthy of a city. We ought not to be, we should operate as one. All of us are trying to save the city, lift up our city, empower the city. We should operate as one and not react to divisive tactics that cause to discourage and smear the city's residents.
Yeah.
And really take a low swipe at the branch of government that it ought to be in business to check and balance. We're not supposed to be marching in lockstep. We check and balance.
Yeah.
And we're checking and saving the city while doing that. So go get the money from the governor, go get that money from Blue Cross Blue Shield, and you can balance the budget with no cuts, Mr. Mayor. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. It really does, it's really disappointing, though, that, the mayor sat right on the other end of the table during his budget address and said that no politics would be played, yet he put together a list of all of the worst-case scenarios and gave it to the media, who then gives it to the public to scare people. And I just think that for him to say there would be no politics, I just wonder what he thinks that is. And I wonder what damage he thinks that this may do by scaring people. I think it's irresponsible. And, with all due respect to our chief, and who I love and support, but, there's some grassroots community effort ongoing to place misinformation on websites and email it around that, they say it came out of the chief's office, that we are, trying to eliminate community relations officers, and that could not be further from the truth. And so I just think that these kinds of political scare tactics are unfortunate and not what we need. But somehow the mayor is not getting the message. I don't know who's advising him to put out this stuff, but I think it needs to stop. First of all, it never should have started, because we could have come to some compromise or some realistic discussion about these dollars, about this 10 million and this 20 million, and how we really should look at it, and whether it is reducing the deficit or not. But I think, these scare tactics are unfortunate for our city, and people should call the mayor on it. They should not watch the news and read the paper and listen to this half-baked scare tactic as a way to conduct business in this city. I think it is extremely unfortunate. Member Cockrell.
I just want to say on your point, Mr. President, I think it's also worth noting that the package of information was given to the media before the budget amendment that the mayor is requesting was even given to council.
That's right.
I think I got my first phone call yesterday afternoon from a reporter about that packet of information that they got from the mayor's office, probably sometime between 1:30 or 2. And the budget amendment wasn't even delivered to my office till, according to my staff, 4:45.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Ms. Gardner is next, followed by Mr. Corley.
Thank you, Mr. President. In the spirit of full disclosure, I would like to say that prior to coming to the administration, I came from the city clerk's office. So as such, I do understand the processes that this body does have in place. And the budget amendment that is before this body was not walked on to your agenda, was not talked onto your agenda, but is listed on your agenda as a referral to the Budget, Finance, and Audit Standing Committee. So in that role from which I came, I do understand the processes of this body, and I do intend to respect that. The administration submitted through its recess, through your procedures for referral, submitted the document to the city clerk's office. I did communicate with the city clerk's office that we did have this document that was forthcoming, provided her with the language for it so that I would not hold up her agenda, and did provide her with the document when it was received from the budget department. With regards to the impact statement, the impact statements we were requested or have been questioned about the impacts of the budget that was overwritten by council. What would those impacts be on city services? That information was provided via email to council members' offices by myself on yesterday when I did receive those. So I don't want it to seem as if that this is a matter that is being pushed on council by the administration. The budget was overwritten by council on last week. The administration 1 week later has submitted the requested amendments through your regular processes, through referral. Again, in no way will I attempt to circumvent your processes. I respect those. And again, coming from which I came, I understand that processes, and I don't want to disrupt that in any regard. So I just want that to be stated for the record.
Okay, thank you very much. Mr. Corley, followed by Member Tate.
Thank you, Mr. President. I respectfully urge the council to take your time with this. First of all, the $20 million from the DTE escrow account is contingent upon an approval from the Michigan Public Service Commission. And the approval process may take, another month. I don't know. My understanding is that the application has been submitted to them, and they will take it up either this week or early next week.
Okay.
So, in my opinion, council should not act on this until you are assured that the $20 million is coming in.
Okay. What about the 10 million?
The 10 million, I think is pretty secure. However, we need to hear from Mr. Lajana. He has talked to the state treasurer's office about it, and there's a good chance that can come by June 30th. But we should get something affirmative regarding that. But getting back to, I'm sorry.
Hold on, I do have a question based on those two recommendations. So would your recommendation then be to submit a budget amendment that's $10 million and then submit a $20 million budget amendment later once the GIDRA money comes in?
That could happen, but I guess I'm suggesting you can wait until the 20 million is firmed up and do it all at once.
Okay, would there be a
I know
problem?
preferably that the mayor will want council to approve an amendment by July 1st, but it doesn't necessarily have to be on July 1st. As you all know, the budget is it's a busy document.
Yeah, but about the 10 million, though, would you recommend, would it be responsible in your judgment to receive a budget amendment that's worth 10 million? And then later, the 20 million?
I would say if the 10 million is firmed up, and again, we need to hear from Mr. Lajana and some correspondence from the state, I would say yes.
Okay.
However, in my opinion, you could hold off if you wish to make sure that the 20 million is firmed up.
Right.
And I just want to bring, to council's attention, there was a package that was submitted to you in regards to the 20 million from the DTE escrow account. In that package was a PowerPoint, and the PowerPoint related to franchise agreements. And I know that the issues are separate. However, it is my understanding through that PowerPoint that DTE wishes for council to approve franchise agreements that will not charge them a franchise fee, and so their payment to you will be the 20 million from the escrow account.
Oh, no.
So although the two are somewhat related, that needs to be vetted before council approves the 20 million. And you need to make sure, again, that all agreements, first of all, you need to make sure that the Michigan Public Service Commission has approved it.
Okay.
That's the first step.
Right.
And then once that occurs, then administration needs to come to you with an agreement that already has been signed off by Detroit Renewable Energy, DTE. The mayor has yet to sign on it. I haven't seen the mayor's signature. So that needs to occur. Then come before your honorable body with that agreement. Now, also in regards to the amendment itself, I respectfully request it goes back to the mayor.
Okay.
The reason why I say that is because the mayor is restoring the money back in his budget, in his office.
Okay.
And council, chose to cut his budget by 5% as well as you did for yours.
Right.
And then on top of that, it's my last point, council is taking the money, the mayor is taking the money out of the council's budget for media services.
Oh, really?
Yes. Yes.
All right.
So.
Well.
That's in his amendment?
Oh, really?
So on those two points,
all right,
I believe this should go back to the administration for revision, and then, but also the 20 million needs to be firmed up before you even take action on this.
All right. We have a couple of hands. Well, so let me ask you this then. So you're recommending that I don't even refer this to budget. You're saying that I should request that this be sent back to the mayor's office for revision.
In my opinion, yes.
So let us generate a memo that talks specifically about those things before I send it back. So what I'll do is I will send it back for revision. Hold on, I will put you all on the list, but it is the president's prerogative to do that, to refer it or not. So, hold on. So, Member Tate, Member Spivey.
I'm next anyway, so.
Oh, you are next. All right. So, Member Spivey, I'll add you after Member Cockrell.
Thank you.
All right. To talk about those two specific things, that money would be restored to the mayor's budget when we said that we would cut both the mayor's budget and council's budget to show leadership on cuts that would happen throughout the budget. So that should not be undone. And then certainly the trickery of removing money from the council's media services division to provide the public access to this meeting and other meetings is more than disingenuous. It stinks.
In violation of the court order.
So it is in violation of the court order. So, all right. So we will send that back for revision. All right. Next on the list is Member Tate, followed by Pro Tem, followed by Cockrell and Spivey. Yes, Member Tate.
Thank you, Mr. President. And I would say, and it sounded like there were members who had not had an opportunity to review those amendments yet. And we have two that are not here. So I said before we send them back, allow an opportunity for everyone to review them.
They can still review it. I'm not shredding the document. I mean, it still exists.
There's questions as well that may be raised by those members.
He can send it back.
That's my recommendation.
Oh, they can raise the questions.
Okay, but the overreaching comment that I want to make is that I hear that, we feel that, there were, as a body, that there were scare tactics being used, and that there's some disingenuous things that are being said. I would just caution that at some point, somebody, if we feel that way, someone has to be the adult in this thing, and we can't go down that same road with tit for tat, if that's the case. What we believe is right, we have to go down that road right. Now, I know that for a fact, since we don't talk to each other, there's no violation of Open Meetings Act. Speaking with staff, and my staff speaking with other staff, there is some movement on some of these items, especially with the DDOT piece. So my thing is, we can't get so set in this $50 million number if we know for a fact that that's not in our best interest. And I would hope that we don't get locked into a feeling of we were disrespected, the people are being disrespected, so we're going to not do what we know to be the best thing in terms of amendments on that the mayor is sending forward. I don't agree, again, as I said before, and we still have not even discussed this deficit elimination plan, which we know is a whole nother issue. So because of the items that Mr. Corley brought up with these, that's why I think it's so important for us to start going over it as soon as possible so that we can discuss these issues so that we're not caught at the last minute and then have to deal with this next issue and the next issue. It's all caught up in one ball, and then we do end up making rash decisions that, we don't necessarily all agree with.
Because I think the media should ask the mayor why he wants to restore money to his budget, and he's cutting from every other budget.
I bet they don't know.
Or why the mayor's office would remove money for Channel 22 for the public to have full access to Detroit City Council. I mean, it just harkens back to why we were kicked off of Channel 10 in the first place. And now, efforts are being made to make sure that there is a staff in place for people to be fully informed on a daily basis of what happens here, an open, transparent government, and why the mayor would try to hamper that. I hope the media will call him on those two specific questions.
And speaking on the media piece, and I don't believe that we should deny an opportunity for the public to hear from this budget, but also look at the budget that has been provided for media services on the other side. $250,000 is not going to cut it. It's not going to make it. And it has not in the past. It's not going to make it this year. So, I mean, there's got to be some review from this body to see what amount needs to go into that budget. So it's different places within the budget. I'm not against some cuts, and I've said that. When we look at the police department, there's areas you can cut. When we start talking about executive, gone. But when I looked at where we took some of the cuts in police, took $1 million from the Criminal Investigative Bureau, in that area alone. That was our recommendation. Now, we know we don't have police officers on the street patrolling like we would like for them to be. At some point, somebody's going to have to investigate those crimes and catch the bad guy.
Yeah, but the mayor can make those cuts anywhere he wants.
I'm just looking at where our mindset is and where we decided to put the cut. So we have to look at it from that standpoint too. So we have a responsibility as well to help guide in this process if we don't believe that it's going in the right direction.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Member Tate. You're next.
Thank you. I mean, there's really been no rash decisions made here. We voted 8-1 after 2 months of negotiating and hammering this override out. And so we didn't make any rash decisions, and we've said we're open to the mayor submitting amendments. The city, for 10 years, we've gotten addicted to spending more money than we bring in, and the first step.
It's an addiction.
Like this. Mr. President, as any recovery will tell you, is to get beyond denial and deception. And there's a lot of deception going on here. I mean, Mr. Corley, You know, the $20 million from DTE escrow account is not DTE's money. It's our money
That's right.
that's being held in an escrow account.
That's right.
And we need to know what we're giving up in order to get it 2 years early, because it's not due to be made until 2014. So
That's correct.
we're getting our money 2 years early. Now, what are we giving up to get that? And what I read is that they're asking that we give them the ability, we give up franchise fees in perpetuity, forever.
Heck no.
Well,
Franchise agreement.
in the franchise agreement.
No
Well,
franchise.
I would make the argument that if we would ever lose our ability to collect utility tax, and in Lansing, there's a way to make that happen, then we would need the ability to replace that money with franchise fees. So we can't give up
No.
in order to get our money.
Right.
And that's why this needs to go through the committee and be vetted very thoroughly as to what exactly we're giving up to get our money 2 months early, or 2 years early. With regards to the $20 million, it was my understanding that, and I get it from the AG's report, and I also got it out of the mayor's deficit elimination report, is that the $20 million DT escrow is in the deficit elimination plan in 2013 that was supposed to receive it, and it's already in the plan.
That's right.
The point is, it's not new money.
That's right.
It's money that's already in the deficit elimination plan. And so what you're really saying is, I'm gonna take it out of the deficit elimination plan and I'm gonna apply it to this year's budget. Well, now your accumulated deficit is $20 million short. With regards to the $10 million that the state is willing to give us, we lost $15 million in constitutional revenue sharing based on the census dropping. So we only netted a loss of $5 million. It's not new money. The $20 million from DTE, the $10 million from the state is not new money, and if it were, I would respectfully submit it should be used to pay down the deficit, not to be put into this year's budget. The process is, the mayor submits us the budget. We thoroughly vetted it. We said there's too much soft revenue. The AG said he could have found an additional $100 million in soft revenue had he been ultra conservative, but he didn't. We only cut it by $50 million. We should not backtrack on that, unless there's new money that comes into play, or the mayor wants to move money from one cost center to another cost center to alleviate something we may have done in criminal investigations in the police department. He's welcome to do that. I don't think anybody at this table would vote no in order to move money from one cost center to another. But there has been no new money laid out here. The $20 million from DTE was already in the deficit elimination plan. The $10 million from the state is just replacing $15 million of constitutional revenue sharing that was already in play. And so until we see new money, this is just deception. It's denial that we're in a crisis and that we need to structurally fix this budget. That's what this council has done. And I would be very careful of falling for any more deceptive tricks of pulling money out of thin air and trying to rob Peter to pay Paul. Thank you.
All right, thank you. On that point, before we go to Member Cox.
And I just want to be clear, I'm not saying that this body, we certainly did go through this process over 2 months. I'm not saying that we made any rational decisions.
Right.
What I'm saying is, moving forward, I don't think that is the best move. And, when we talk about the 20 million that is in escrow, and now we're taking it out of the DEP and now putting it potentially in this, but that's the whole point. It's a plan. And now you're moving that money, instead of in the future it coming, now it's here, along with some of the other items that have been in the deficit elimination plan that we thought were not going to happen, but now they're here. When we look at the legislation as well, in terms of the utility users tax and the income tax, didn't think that was going to happen, but it's here. So we've got to look at it, in my opinion, holistically, not just one item here, one item there. Look at it from moving forward, because there's still a whole lot more than can be utilized within the DEP that, if done correctly, and it's part of that, it's going to include labor relations.
Right.
And, and human resources. When we cut labor relations and human relations, when we cut it by 1.7, that challenges their ability to do those things that we said is important moving forward.
Okay. Member Cockrell is next, followed by Spivey, Kenyatta, and Watson.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. I just have a question. I guess I'm going to direct this to Mr. Whitaker because I know you saw, I don't know if you, did you ever actually get a copy of the GIDRA materials? I know that the COO had a copy on his iPad and was showing them around in Mackinac. Did you ever actually get a copy of that?
Yeah, go ahead.
I had a copy of the energy purchase agreement, and we discussed it on the date of the vote. We did do an analysis of that. We're still working on, we got, since that time, a whole host of other documents that we're going through, and we're preparing a report that probably won't be out sometime until next week.
Okay.
But there was no, as I spoke on that day, there was no mention of a franchise agreement. And since that time, Mr. Brown has had conversation with me and indicated that the item that Mr. Corley is referring to that was in the PowerPoint referencing a franchise agreement is off the table. That's what he said in a side comment. But he should come to the table, given the fact that his documents has really kindled this whole flame.
Right.
He should come to the table and explain it.
Yeah, my question specifically about the 20 million is that I have heard that what's being proposed is not that we would even get that 20 million in a lump sum, but it we spread out in time over payments. Is that correct?
Well, my review of the schedule that's in that document has the city getting the 20 million after the agreement has been approved by the Public Service Commission.
In a lump sum.
In a lump sum.
The remainder in payments.
There is a number of, there's a schedule of future payments that's spread out over a number of years, but my read of it is 20 million would be almost immediate, and there would be another million on July 1 of this year.
But again, that's only after the agreement has been approved in Lansing.
That's correct. That's my understanding.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. President.
All right, and moving forward, so what I will do then, I will refer item number 6 to budget for next week. But the question is, though, to Kenyatta's point, then would we want to do that as that Budget, Finance, and Audit Standing Committee as a committee of the whole? Or would we want to, can we do that? Go ahead.
According to your rules, after council has adopted the Budget, Finance, and Audit Committee reverts back to only 3 members.
Okay, so then what we could do then is set a committee of the whole immediately following budget, and then perhaps an adjourned session either for later that day or the next day. In order to vote it up or down. But the issue, though, Mr. Corley, I think we should hone in with laser focus those 2 issues that you raised about restoring money to the mayor's budget and then cutting of money for operations of Channel 22 that allows the public to see these meetings and to be informed about what's going on in their communities. All right, so we'll refer it to Budget, Finance, and Audit, number 6, and then we'll work with colleague schedules to set an appropriate committee of the whole on Wednesday, right after budget, and then we'll discuss an adjourned session. All right, Member Spivey is next, followed by Kenyatta and Watson.
Just want to make the case to put this back into committee, but you've already done it, so I appreciate you.
I could feel your prayers. You were praying privately, and your prayers as a pastor, it worked.
Chair, I appreciate you doing it, but I also am, Mr. President, to our colleagues, to not just look at what the mayor did to his budget.
Oh, absolutely.
His budget, but there's some other things
Yeah,
on there.
absolutely.
Now, we took a lot from our cultural subsidy. We took a lot out. We put it back in.
Right.
We put the whole thing back in. And we met him halfway, and I think it's
He restored everything?
He restored everything in there, so, we need to look at that and some other departments where our question, though it may be minimal in dollar amounts, our question, some things he put back in there, so I would actually look at the entire sheet.
Okay.
And have those questions sent to them, so they will not have a reason to say they did not get our question before our committee of the whole on Wednesday.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Next is Member Kenyatta, followed by Watson.
Thank you, Mr. President. Can't argue with the power of prayer. So I have no problem with that. There was one thing, and I think that's been resolved. You initially had taken the prerogative to say that you were going to refer the item back to the mayor, and I didn't think that you had that prerogative. And that, I think, has been resolved, that it's on the formal new business agenda, so it becomes the property of the council.
Absolutely.
To make that decision. So that's been resolved, and I have no problem with it being, going to the committee and then to the full body, because we haven't had, no, I haven't had an opportunity to review this, and to sit it back without us reviewing it, I don't think would have been the proper thing to do.
I'm hard-headed, but I'm not bull-headed.
All right.
Thank you. Next is Member Watson, followed by Tate.
Thank you, Mr. President. I, first of all, wanted to ask Mr. Whitaker and also Mr. Corley to come forth with a basic rule of thumb legally. Once council enacts a budget, which we did with the override of the mayor's veto, that is the city's budget. That is the budget. So unless and until there are any revisions per amendments that council may deliberate to approve or not approve, what was voted on at the last council budget session is the budget. So now, I know about the Stetcher business, and now the mayor, once we approve the total, there can be some shifts in line items, but if we, for example, defund a department, that money cannot be appropriated because there's no appropriation. So the budget we approved is the budget. I don't want council members or any of those who work for us to be acting as if we're powerless or victims and that we have to go back to reacting to something else when we don't. What we approved is the budget. Furthermore, this business about the 20 million, when I started on council, it was 25 million. So I'm requesting that the research, it was 25 million. And there's already an agreement for the 25 million. There was an agreement put in place when DTE, then called Detroit Edison, demanded that the city put up 25, just in case we ever got out of the steam business. See, I read all that Gidra stuff, it's 300 pages. And I'd like to, first of all, how did the 25 million become 20 million? So I also think that since by the agreement that was struck more than 20 years ago, it's going to come back to us anyway because it's our money in 2014. We should not be tied to any agreements that say we're not going to ever charge DTE for any franchise business they do, which we have the right to charge any other utility that's engaging in franchises. We should not be giving up that authority nor that right, particularly with DTE that just benefited from $100 million from the city last October, even though I voted no. This is no time to be giving them any more free money. They're richer than, well, they're quite wealthy without the city's assistance.
Thank you for the edit, Member Watson.
Well, thank you. Furthermore, this business of having to lay off anybody or restructure cuts, you've already heard the $220 million speech owed to us by the governor because of a former governor, Engler, and a deal he cut with Archer that was not consummated. In addition to that, the Auditor General said that last year we spent $81 million just in overtime. That's management. If you manage well, you can cut $81 million in overtime. That's management, and this council cannot manage, only executive branch can manage. So that the most substantial way to address the deficit elimination is to go get money owed us and address the structural costs, healthcare costs that are available right now. If you step into renegotiating agreements that the unions have already agreed to and dealing with the company that's right now being sued by the U.S. Attorney General of this United States of America. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you. Mr. Whitaker, can you address the fact, it's more than 25 million now. That first 20 million would be the first lump sum, and the remainder will be paid out over the schedule.
That's correct. It's about, my read of the document has the figure at about 28.
Yeah, that's what I read.
Interest on the 25 million. Start off with 25.
That's right. Okay. Next is Member Tate, and then we will move on to number 7.
Thank you, Mr. President. For those who are watching at home, they may not have an idea of exactly what we're talking about in terms of amendments.
Yeah.
I just want, $50 million, adjustment.
Right.
That we go all the way back. It is for $30 million. So $20 million of the cuts that council put in the budget will still be there. It's still being concurred by the administration. So I know it sounds as if everything was being put back here, but it's $20 million is still going to remain in terms of the request from the administration as well. So I just want to, put that on the record.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
I can tell you have a background in journalism there, Mr. Tate. All right, for the Internal Operations Standing Committee,
One report from the law department.
all right, that one report will be referred, unless we want an hour-long debate on that one. For the Planning and Economic Development Standing Committee,
One report from the Planning and Development Department.
all right, we'll refer that one. For Public Health and Safety,
2 reports from various city departments.
all right, those 2 reports will be referred. We'll return, is there anything?
Yes, Mr. President, the clerk has received a report from the Department of Public Works City Engineering Division. This is regarding petition 795 Detroit International Bridge Company. This is for referral to Public Health and Safety.
Okay, we'll refer that.
What number is that?
That's a walk-on.
It was distributed to your body this morning. In addition, for a vote, the clerk has received Finance Department Purchasing Division City Council contracts 86023, 86025, 86029. These are for council staffers.
Okay.
Is there a desire to have a motion to put this on new business?
So moved.
All right, hearing no objection, then that will be placed on.
Councilmember Spivey, a resolution approving contract 860232529, City Council.
Member Spivey.
So moved, Mr. Chair.
All right, and is there any objection? Hearing none, then those 4 resolutions are approved.
Waiver, Mr. Chair, if I may.
And there's a motion for a waiver, and hearing no objection, then a waiver is placed. Mr. Smith, the issue that we discussed earlier, will that be walked on?
She did.
Oh,
The
That was
bridge
that.
item, yes, for referral to Public
Okay,
Health
cool.
and Safety.
all right, is that it? That's
all I
it?
have, Mr.
Okay, thank you. We'll return to the main agenda, under consent agenda.
No items, Mr. President.
All right, we call now for member reports. What's your pleasure, colleagues? Skip? Is there a desire, is there burning issues that need to be discussed?
Yes, sir, one.
All right, yep, Member Watson.
Thank you, Mr. President. On the 22nd of this month, at 11 a.m., there will be a press conference in front of this building with the Spirit of Detroit, with a dream team of attorneys and some wonderful plaintiffs who will have activities that will bring forth a lawsuit that is going to be filed that day on behalf of citizens in Detroit and Benton Harbor and Pontiac and Flint, Grand Rapids, Muskegon, Grand Rapids, etc., to address the unconstitutional nature of the dictator laws that have been passed by the state of Michigan. And I encourage my colleagues to come stand with me and stand with citizens who are plaintiffs in this lawsuit. And we thank God for the dream team of attorneys representing the best constitution. Rights of these United States and the U.S. Judiciary Committee, who have all been participating for months on a lawsuit to protect our interests against any emergency manager coming into this city, which we have the right to govern and run. So I invite you to come and stand with us at 11, and any citizen on the 22nd of this month. Thank you, Mr. President.
Okay, thank you very much. I also wanted to formally request that both the Law Department and RAD compose a review of the proposed city charter that has come out of the Charter Revision Commission. for the state's review, so that we look at it with a fine-tooth comb, because apparently, as it stands now, this document is flawed, and so we need to at least understand the ramifications of that, and so I would like to make that formal request, and I do have my request in writing. All right. So that's a motion, Member Watson? All right, hearing no objection, then that will be ordered. Yes?
I did want to cancel member reports, but I do have one, Mr. President.
Oh, I see. There was a waiver on that, Member Smiley, so we can't change your vote.
Doc, can we live that?
Yeah, go ahead.
Hey, Mr. President, the African Children's Choir is celebrating 25 years of being in service, and they will be here this Friday, June 17th at 7 p.m. at St. Paul AME Church.
Oh, that church. We know that church.
It's absolutely free, June 17th, 7 p.m. The African Children's Choir. They're from Uganda, so all come out. You have a great time this Friday. Thank you, Mr.
Of course.
President.
Praise the Lord.
Thank you. All right, that concludes member reports. Under adoption without committee reference,
No items, Mr. President.
under communications from the mayor.
From the clerk, a report on approval of proceedings by the mayor.
All right, we'll place that in our special file. Under testimonial resolutions, under testimonial resolutions of special privilege.
Councilmember Spivey, a resolution
I love the mayor. I love that thing. Yes, I do. Hearing no objection. Oh, Member Spivey.
Move to approve, Mr. Chair.
All right, hearing no objection, that resolution is approved. Under testimonial resolutions and special privilege.
Councilmember Watson, 2 resolutions.
Member Watson. See, I bet you that won't make it on television. Member Watson.
Mr. President, move approval of the 2 resolutions.
It's been moved. Is there any discussion or objection? All right, hearing none, those 2 resolutions are approved. Is there any further business, colleagues?
Move adjournment.
All right, we are adjourned.